Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto unlocks his bloodline during beaten by a group of drunks down on their luck. Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto ran as he was being chased by a group of 3 drunks. He took a turn and ran into a dead end. He gulped and turned and looked as the 3 approached him. The last thing he saw was a hand coming down on his head and everything going black. The next thing he remembers was waking up in the hospital. "Naruto, can you hear me?" he heard. Naruto blinked as his eyes adjusted to the white lights. "Old man," he asked. "Welcome back to the world of the living, are you in pain?" the third asked. "No, what happened?" Naruto asked. "Well, according to Kurenai and Anko, you was beat by a group of drunks. They beat them and turned them in, but if they didn't come when they did, you would have been killed by those 3, the third said. "Who are they? Can I meet them?" Naruto asked. "Sure, they will come visit you later today," the third said. "Okay," Naruto said. "So Naruto, why was you out so late? It was well after midnight when you was found being beat. Why wasn't you at the orphanage like you was supposed to be?" the third asked. "I was kicked out last week," Naruto whispered. "And you didn't tell me why. I could have made arrangements for you so you wouldn't be living on the streets," the third asked. "I didn't want you to worry, you have enough problems without me causing you more," Naruto said. "How do you expect me to protect you from things like this as I don't even know you're safe at night? How do you expect things to get better for you if you never let me know when things happen to you? Naruto, you can't keep letting things like this happen to you. I know you're only 5, but you have to remember that there are people who wants to protect you and sometimes we need your help to make sure you're safe all the time," the third explained. "Sorry old man," Naruto said. "Don't worry, I'll tell Anko and Kurenai to bring you something to eat and a change of clothes," the third said. "Thank you old man," Naruto said. "Don't think of it, I only wants to protect you. I messed up with my son by letting being Hokage run my life. I don't want that same thing to happen to you. Actually, if I could, I would send you somewhere you will be safe, but I'm afraid I know nowhere you would be safe from stupid people like those 3 last night," the third said. "I know you would old man, thanks, it'd mean a lot to know that I at least know I can count on you," Naruto said. The third smiled and walked out. An hour later, Anko and Kurenai came in the room with some food and clothes. "Hey, you're woke?" Kurenai asked. "Yes, who are you?" Naruto asked. "I'm Kurenai and this is Anko," Kurenai answered. "Oh well, I'm Naruto, thank you for saving me," he said. "Don't worry, here I brought you some food," Anko said, handing him the dango. "What's this? Where is the ramen?" Naruto asked. "It's dango and much better than ramen," Anko answered. "What, I don't want this, I want ramen," Naruto said. "Then more for me, you can eat this hospital food," Anko said. "What, no, I'll eat it, please don't make me eat the food here," Naruto said, grabbing the dango bag she gave him. "Thought so," Anko said. Kurenai shook her head. "Anko, do you have to be like this all the time? Not everyone like dango as much as you," she said. Anko shrugged. "He is eating it right, besides he needs a more balanced diet if he plans on being a shinobi," she said. "Shinobi? Who said anything about him being a shinobi? How do you know he wants to be one?" Kurenai asked. "Naruto, do you want to be a shinobi?" Anko asked. Naruto thought, "If I can learn to use sand again I will. I remember being able to move it a little bit to protect myself, but now I can't," he said finally. "Good, I trained someone a year older than you can join us," Anko said. "Anko, you know you're not supposed to train someone without their parents' permission, and in this case the Hokage's permission," Kurenai said. Anko rolled her eyes. "And you got the Hyuga bastard's permission to train Hinata, I bet," she said. That's different, he don't even like her," Kurenai defended. "Why don't you bring Hinata to join us and we can train the 3 together," Anko suggested. "Yay, someone needs to make sure you don't corrupt him," Kurenai said. "Sure, whatever you say, Kurenai," Anko said. Naruto finished the last of his dango and looked at the 2. "When can I leave?" he asked. "Well, you can leave now." Kurenai threw him a bag. "I bought you new clothes," she said. Naruto grabbed the bag and looked in. Inside the bag was a pair of dark orange boots, dark orange pants, a blue short sleeve shirt, an orange sleeveless coat with a hood that went halfway between his knees and ankles, a blue belt and fingerless gloves. "These are mine?" he asked Kurenai. "Yup, I thought you would like a new look of clothes and those was picked out by Hinata herself," Kurenai said. "Thank you," Naruto said. "Don't worry, now go shower so we can get out of here, I hate hospitals," Kurenai said. Naruto ran into the shower and came back within 10 minutes wearing his new clothes. Kurenai and Anko almost laughed because his entire body was still wet. "Naruto, why didn't you dry your body?" Anko asked. "It dries by itself," Naruto said. "That takes too long, go back in there and dry off," Anko said. Naruto and Anko met Tenten at the training ground while Kurenai went to get Hinata. Tenten looked once they entered and looked at Naruto. "Who is that, your son?" she asked Anko. "No, this is Naruto, a friend, he is going to start joining us in our training," Anko said. "Oh hi Naruto, I'm Tenten," she said. "Hello Tenny," he said. "It's Tenten, not Tenny," she told him. "Yay, but Tenny can be your nickname," he said. She looked at him for a minute. "Sure, I like it," she said with a smile. Anko started Naruto on basic taijutsu. This is the number one fundamental of being a ninja. If you can't do taijutsu, then you don't need to be training to be a shinobi, she told him. Okay, I'll train hard, Anko-sensei, Naruto said. Good, now Tenten, you're going to spar with him, but remember he never had training before, also I'm going to teach you my style, since you don't have any style right now, Anko told the two. I'm ready, Naruto said. Good, get into this stance, Anko demonstrated for him. It took Naruto a while, but eventually he got it. Good, that's the starting stance, now I want to just test you out to see how much work we need to do to get you up to where Tenten and Hinata are, so it will take a while before we get into the grove of things, she told him. Okay, Anko-sensei, Naruto said. As Naruto and Tenten started to spar, tried not to interfere because Naruto needed this, so he know what he needs to build on. As they was sparring, Kurenai and Hinata came up. How is he? Kurenai asked. We have a lot of work ahead of us with him, Anko told her. I see, Kurenai said as she watched the two spar. Okay, enough you two, Anko said. Once they stopped, they turned to Anko. Okay, you both know Kurenai and Tenten knows Hinata, but Naruto, this is Hinata Hyuga, she the heir to the Hyuga clan and is going to be joining us our training, she told him. Hello, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, the next Hokage, he said. Hello, Naruto, Hinata said with a stutter and blush. What's wrong? Why is your face red? You're not sick, are you? Naruto asked. No, she is fine, just nervous. Now let's get to know each other, Kurenai piped in. The group sat in a circle and as Kurenai was about to speak, a scroll fell out the sky into Naruto's lap. They looked up, but only saw a bird fly by. It didn't even look large enough to carry a scroll. Naruto picked up the scroll. I can't read, he said while blushing in embarrassment. I'll read it, Tenten offered. Okay, Naruto passed her the scroll. Tenten opened the scroll and took a breath. She looked around and saw everyone looking at her expectantly. Naruto, you have been lied to all these years. Before you start to worry, the old man isn't the one who lied to you. Yes, he didn't tell you who your parents are or why you're treated the way you are, but he did that to protect you from people who would use that information to have you killed. Now I'm going to tell you exactly who your parents are and why you're treated like that, but you can't tell anyone. Your father is Minato Namikaze the Yondaime Hokage and your mother is Kushina Uzumaki. Your father is dead, as you know. He died sealing Kyuubi no Kitsune in you to protect his family and friends. He picked you because he knew that only you would be able to hold Kyuubi back. Your mother, she is still mourning your death. You see, in Konoha there is a man named Danzo and Fugaku somehow both found out who you are and used Kyuubi's attack to fake your death. Kushina can now be found wandering the shinobi nation looking for her place in the world. Where she is at this moment I can't tell you, unless you are committed to finding her and restoring the Uzumaki clan to its former glory, and only she will be able to help you. My mother is alive, Naruto asked. It would seem so, Kurenai said. Maybe the old man can help me find her, Naruto said. Maybe he can, Kurenai said. Good luck with that. He may be nice to you, but he don't even try and prevent you from being treated the way you are treated. If he knew she was alive, why didn't he try and find her before, Anko said. Do you have to be so negative, Kurenai asked. I'm just saying, don't expect him to do anything to help you, Anko said. Well, I have to try, Naruto said. I guess I'll take you to his office, Anko said. In the Hokage's office, Naruto and Anko walked in the office. Hey old man, Naruto said. Hello Naruto, how can I help you today, he asked. I have this letter, maybe you can help me with it, Naruto said. Let me see it, the third said. Naruto gave him the letter and he read it. Don't bother with this, whoever wrote this don't know what they are talking about. Kushina is dead, and how did they know your parents, and about the Kitsune anyway, the third said. What, but can't you at least send someone out to look for her, Naruto asked. There is no point, Kushina has been dead for 5 years, the third said, giving him back the scroll. Naruto took the scroll and left. Okay, bye old man, he said, and walked out with Anko behind him. Don't get so down, kid, everything will work out, Anko told him while rubbing his head. How do you know, Naruto asked. Don't worry, just leave that to me. How about I treat you to lunch, ramen on me, she told him. Okay, Naruto said, cheering up. Later that day Anko went to Kurenai's apartment. What's up, Kurenai asked. We have to do something, Anko said. About what, Kurenai asked. About that letter. I told you it was a bad idea to talk to the Hokage about it. All he did was shoot down Naruto's hopes of finding his mother. We have to at least look for her, Anko said. I agree, what do you think we should do though, Kurenai asked. Well, we stage a kidnapping, take Naruto, Tenten, and Hinata and leave the village, train them while we look for Kushina. No one will miss Naruto, since just about everyone hates him. Tenten's foster parents don't even like her, and Hinata is already an outcast in her family, even if she is the heir. All we have to do is get some supplies and leave before anyone wakes up, Anko said. But eventually someone will come looking for us, Kurenai said. Nope, I have a plan for that also. All we have to do is fake our deaths. It will be a while before someone realize that we are not dead, and by that time, it will be too late to even look for us, Anko said. Kurenai thought about this. Okay, I'm in, but we need to get some supplies first, she said. Okay, you buy clothes and food, I'll get weapons and scrolls to teach them from, Anko said. Right, meet here in 30 minutes, Kurenai said. Anko was leaving the ninja store with a ton of scrolls and weapons when she passed the Hokage's tower and smirked, summoning no jutsu. She summoned 3 snakes. Go in there and find anything that belongs to either Minato, Kushina, or Naruto, she said. Ain't that stealing, one of the snakes asked. Yeah, I know, but I'm taking him out of the village to look for his mother and I need things that will help train him, plus it technically belonged to Naruto since it's his inheritance anyway, Anko said. The snakes nodded and went into the tower. Anko arrived at Kurenai's apartment. Well, let's get the kid, shall we, she asked. Yes, but first we need to seal all this stuff to make it easier to carry, Kurenai said. An hour later Anko and Kurenai was running away from the village with the 3 kids sleeping on one of Anko's summons. Where do we start looking, Anko asked. I don't know, but we need a place to rest, Kurenai said. The next day outside of Konoha, Anko and Kurenai woke up early to prepare for what they would tell the 5-year-olds and the 6-year-old. Sometimes planning a kidnapping was more work than it needed to be, they both thought. Not surprised that Hinata was the first to wake up or that she was terrified when she wasn't in her room. The resulting scream woke both Tenten and Naruto. Tenten screamed out, but Naruto took it in stride, thinking he was beaten again and was in the old man's home. Anko and Kurenai looked at each other trying to decide what to do next. Well, I guess we should explain, Kurenai said. I had the idea to help Naruto find his mother. I planned this entire thing out. In a few hours the village will think you 3 are dead, giving us time to get out of Fire Country and look for Kushina. Eventually they will notice that the bodies are a fake, but I'm hoping that they won't until a few more hours or days. If you want to go back, tell us now and I will have one of my summons take you to the village, Anko explained. Awesome, you're going to help me find my mother. You are the best sister ever, Naruto said, jumping on Anko, hugging her. I don't have to deal with my foster parents blaming me for everything and acting like their son never does anything. I like to show them how much a pain I can be, Tenten said. I'm happy to be with my friends and not looked at with hate, but I will miss my sister. She was only 1, Hinata stuttered. Anko looked at Kurenai, and sometimes it's easy, Kurenai said, knowing Anko was thinking the same thing. Where do we start first, Naruto asked. First we have to eat breakfast. I'm starved, I didn't get dinner last night, Anko said. I'll cook something, Kurenai said. Okay, now we need to set some ground rules because we will need to be careful where we go and what we do for a while, at least a few months if not years. We want everyone in Konoha to think we are dead, Anko said. We have to have rules, Naruto complained. Yes, Naruto, you want to find your mother, right? Naruto nodded. Then trust me with these rules, things will be easier for us all, Kurenai said. Okay, now first, none of will go by our original names until we are ready to come out of hiding. Me and Kurenai will be either sister or sensei. Naruto will go by Scorpion, Tenten will go by Cat, and Hinata will go by Raptor, Anko said. We will travel at night and train and sleep during the day. You all will learn to cook, Kurenai said. You each will try and find your own summon. Decide what weapon you want to specialize in, including you, Tenten. I know you want to be a weapons mistress, which you can, but you need a basic weapon. You will start learning ninjutsu and to control your element when you turn 8. For now we will focus on weapons. Hinata and Tenten will need to pick a new style of clothes since Naruto just got his yesterday and no one saw it. He is safe, Kurenai said. Did you buy them some styles to choose from? Anko asked. You are not to tell anyone about where you are from. If someone asks, then you're traveling with your family, Kurenai said. Is the food done? I'm hungry, Naruto said. You have a one-track mind, Anko said. Hey, are you calling me stupid? Naruto asked. Hey, if the kunai fits, Anko said. Enough, you two, and breakfast is done, Kurenai said. For the rest of the day Kurenai and Anko taught the 3 the things they should learn if they had a loving family, starting with basic chakra control, then going to teach them jutsu. At night Anko and Kurenai packed everything in a scroll and the 5 left the hotel heading towards grass country. They looked around once they got to the country. This looks like a good place to start their serious training, Kurenai said. I agree, no one should look for us here and it has been a few days since we left so everything should be calmed down a little, Anko said. Hey, what does my mom look like? Naruto asked as he looked around at all the ladies that was in the small country. Well, she is about my height, has long red hair, blue eyes, always wears red, has a katana on her back, Kurenai said. Like that, Tenten pointed to a kunoichi that had long red hair with a katana on her back, walking with a blonde and black-haired woman. Anko and Kurenai looked over at her. Yay, and that looks like Tsunade and Shizune, Anko said. Let's go find out if that is really her, Kurenai said. They walked up to them. Kushina Uzumaki, she asked. The red-haired kunoichi turned. Yes, who are you? She asked. Kurenai and Anko smiled. I'm Kurenai and this is Anko. We are from Konoha, so are these 3. We are looking for you, she said. Why are you looking for me? And I only see 2 not 3, Kushina said. But Kurenai looked around. Anko, where did Naruto go? She asked. I don't know, he was walking right behind us, Anko said. Wait, why are you looking for Kushina? Tsunade asked. This letter, Kurenai said, handing the letter to Kushina. Kushina read the letter and her eyes went wide and she dropped it. My son is alive, where is he? She asked. I don't know, he was just with us, Anko said. You lost him, Kushina yelled. Ah, sisters help, they heard a boy scream. Naruto, Anko and Kurama yelled at the same time. Sisters, you said we can't use our names in public, his name is Scorpion, remember, Hinata stuttered. We know that, but this is an emergency, Kurama said. She looked around and found Kushina already running to where the noise came from. Kushina turned the corner and stopped cold in her tracks. Kari, what are you doing here? I didn't summon you, she asked the large scorpion that was licking Naruto. I know, but I found your son for you. It took longer than I thought, but I found him. I'm sure you read the letter. It was written by mother, the scorpion said. What, you did that? I told you to stay out of my personal affairs, Kushina said. Why aren't you happy you have your son, Kari asked. Well, yes, I'm happy. I want nothing more than to be with my son, but still you should have told me before you did it, Kushina said. Maybe, but mom wanted it to be a surprise. She even got the falcon to deliver the message, Kari said. Fine, just don't do anything like this again. You know how much trouble they could be in for leaving their village, Kushina said. It's better if he wasn't in the village, the scorpion said. What do you mean, Kushina said. Well, before I told mom where he was, I watched him for a while to see if he would need his mother now or if it would be too much for him to handle, and well, let's just say that he has a first-hand experience at almost dying, Kari said. But someone almost killed my son, Kushina asked. Yay, well, bye, I have to report to mom that you two have found each other, Kari said, then puffed away, but not after licking Naruto one last time. Kushina and everyone else stood there for a minute, not moving. Thinking about what the scorpion said. So sister, what was that? Is it some type of animal? Naruto asked, looking at Anko. That was a scorpion, Anko said. So my nickname is that animal, he asked. Yes, Anko said. So who are these people? Naruto asked. Naruto, Kushina asked. Yes, Naruto answered, confused. My baby is really alive, Kushina cried out, swooping him up and spinning him in the air a few times before she brought him into a hug. I'm so sorry I wasn't there to protect you, but I promise I will be the best mother ever, she said. Mom, Naruto asked. Yes, Kushina asked. Naruto just looked at her. They threw his arms back around her neck in as tight a hug as he could. Mom, he cried. Kurenai, Anko, Tsunade, Shizune, Hinata, and Tenten watched them. This will be great for both of them, Kurenai said. I agree, I was about to give up on bringing her out of her 5-year-long depression, and a few times she tried to kill herself, Tsunade said. Son, you have to tell me everything about you. She then looked at his clothes. You're wearing the same thing I'm wearing, she added. Naruto smiled. These are my favorite clothes, he said. So what do you like to do for fun, Kushina asked. Well, I never get to do anything. No one in the village would let me go to the parks like the other kids, and I never had any friends, and they all called me monster, demon, or motherless demon brat. I don't even know what those mean, Naruto said. What, you never went to the park? Tenten and Hinata yelled at the same time. Kushina abruptly stood up with Naruto and started to walk away. Where are you going? Tsunade asked. To the park, Kushina said, and kept walking. Hinata and Tenten ran to catch up with her. The four Kunoichis looked at each other, then followed. They arrived at the park. What do you want to do first? Kushina asked. Naruto looked around. You mean I can really play here without being kicked out? Hidi asked. Yes, and if anyone tries to do anything to you they will have to answer to me. Now go play, I'll be watching from the bench, Kushina said, pointing to a bench that was close by. Naruto looked excited, then turned to Hinata and Tenten. Would you play with me, Cat and Raptor? He asked. Of course, let's go, Tenten said, and ran into the park with Hinata and Naruto close behind. Kushina sat on the bench and watched Naruto play with Tenten and Hinata when the others came up. Kushina, are you okay? Tsunade asked. Yay, why? Kushina asked. Well, you was depressed for the last 5 years, even trying to kill yourself, Tsunade said. Well, that's when I thought my son was dead, Kushina said. You know, the old man tried to keep Scorpion from looking for you, Anko said. I believe it, he was the bastard that told me Naruto was dead, Kushina said. I thought the Danzo and Fugaku told you that, Anko said. Like I would believe anything those two say, Kushina said. So what will you do now? Shizune asked. Well, I'm going home, Kushina said. Home? Kurenai asked. Yes, the Uzumaki has 2 branches, one from Whirlpool and another from Suna. I am the only member of the family who has a parent from both branches, and I'm going back home to Suna, Kushina said. Oh, so we are headed straight there? Anko asked. Well, I guess, I have no reason to hang around here anymore, Kushina said. What are we going to do? Shizune asked Tsunade. Well, I guess we can stay with them for a while to train them a little in medics, Tsunade said. You know, I can make you honorary parts of the Uzumaki clan, Kushina told them. Fine with me, Naruto already thinks of me as a sister, Anko said. Me too, Kurenai said. You can do it if you want, Shizune, Tsunade said. What about you? Shizune asked. Tsunade shrugged. I'm not sure, besides I don't think Suna will try and prevent a Senin and medic expert from coming into their village if I'm going to help improve their medical training to be the best, she said. They spent a few hours in the park watching the 3 play around when they walked up to them. We're hungry, Naruto said. Well, let's go get something to eat, Kushina said. They started to walk through the country, so let me make sure I have the names right. Naruto is named Scorpion, Hinata is Raptor, and Tenten is Cat, Kushina asked. Yup, Anko said. By those names, Kushina asked. Don't know, those are the first thing I thought of when I gave them the names, Anko said. I see, Kushina said. I must say you are much more happier than you have been the last few years, Tsunade told Kushina. Kushina shrugged. How long do you think it will take to get to Suna, she asked. A week at most, Tsunade said. The village of Konoha woke up the day of the murder, and it was like any other day, except the village has yet to see the blonde pain in its ass. The owners of the weapons shop haven't seen their adopted daughter in almost 12 hours when she stormed out after they punished her for knocking over the kunais and blaming it on their precious little boy, and Hiashi was having a peaceful breakfast. Well, as peaceful as someone can have with a crying 1-year-old. Where the hell is that failure? Only she can stop that damn baby from crying, he thought. As the day went on, the Hokage got worried because not only did Naruto not came to get his morning serving of ramen, he missed his lunch serving also. Not that he was complaining, he could use the money he was saving, not paying for the food, but still. And add on the fact that neither Anko or Kurenai showed up to work, and there is a report that Hanabi has not stopped crying since she woke up. Yes, something is wrong, the third thought, getting up from his chair and walking out the office. He arrived at the Hyuga compound and was let in with no hesitation. Lord Hokage, what do I owe the pleasure? Hiashi asked from the main family door. I heard a report that Hanabi haven't stopped crying since she woke up, the third said. Yes, do you know why? Hiashi asked. I have an idea, but it involves Hinata. Is she woke? The third asked. No, Hiashi said. Ain't she usually the first one woke? The third asked. Yes, maybe she is tired, Hiashi said, shrugging. Can I go see her? The third asked. Sure, don't know why anyone would bother with her though, Hiashi said, and led him to Hinata's room. Hiashi opened the door and the third walked in. Hinata, he called. No response, not even the slight movement made while sleeping. Hinata, the third called louder. Weird, Hinata is a light sleeper, usually waking up at the slightest noise that isn't normal, Hiashi said. The third walked up to her bed and gave her a slight shake and was shocked. Hiashi, Hinata is not asleep, he said. What do you mean? Hiashi asked. What I mean is she is dead. Look, the third turned her over, and a kunai was stuck in her lungs with her own hand holding the kunai and blood staining her purple sheets. She killed herself sometime last night, the third said. Hiashi looked at her. At least she prevented the Byakugan from falling into the enemy hands and took the problem of having to always protect her off my hands, he said, and walked out. Hiashi, don't you feel anything from losing your daughter? The third asked. No, I'm not even 100% sure she was my daughter. I don't think Hanabi is either, Hiashi said, then walked out the room. The third shook his head. I wonder, he whispered and shunshined out to Naruto's apartment. Naruto, he called, walking through to his room. He looked at his bed and was shocked to find he also killed himself with a kunai into his lungs. The third let a tear drop. Why would Hinata and Naruto kill themselves? The third asked, walking out of the apartment. His feet led him to the weapons shop. Do you mind if I check on something with Tenten? He asked. Sure, the owner said as if he didn't care. The third walked to her room and found her in the same position as Hinata and Naruto. He walked out. You know Tenten is dead, he said. So, she wasn't anything but a pest and nuisance, he said. The third shook his head and walked out. 3 of the missing 5 people all killed themselves. Would Kurenai and Anko, he thought. Nah, those 2 wouldn't do that. He dismissed the thought and went back to the Hokage's tower. Little did he know that inside both Anko's and Kurenai's was 2 corpses laying on the bed. Both was tied down with chakra rope, gagged, raped, and killed. If he went into the rooms he would have saw that both led right to the current head of the Hyuga and Uchiha clans, but since he didn't, the 2 would die without anyone knowing, and the evidence accusing the 2 clan heads of multiple counts of rape over the past years would be unnoticed. All the evidence needed to convict the 2 rapists would never be found, since the building the 2 was living in mysteriously went up in fire after said Hyuga and Uchiha head went to investigate the missing kunoichis. Of course they didn't rape them and they knew it, but the evidence against them for the other rapes was too much to let get out. The 2 nodded to each other after the building burnt down and went back to their compounds. In grass country, Kushina woke up in her hotel room with Naruto looking down at her. Naruto, what are you doing? She asked. I just wanted to make sure you was real. I had lots of dreams about meeting you, and when I woke up you never was there, Naruto said. Kushina smiled. Come on, get in bed, it's still early, you can lay with me for a few hours, she said. Naruto climbed in and laid his head on her arm. Love you, mom, he said. I love you too, sweetie, Kushina replied, and both fell back asleep. Tsunade went into the room to wake Kushina up and stop at the sight. Shizune, bring your camera in here, she called down the hallway. Why? Shizune called back. Just bring it, you will see, Tsunade said. Shizune walked out her room with her camera. Why did you need my camera? She asked. Look, Tsunade pointed. Shizune looked at them and smiled. That's so cute, she said, taking a few pictures. Yeah, I almost hate to wake them, almost, Tsunade said. A week later, the group arrived in Suna, passes the guard said. We don't have any, Kushina said. Then I can't allow you to enter without the Kazekage's permission, the guard said. Well, go get the old coot, Kushina said, thinking the Kazekage was still her uncle. You will do well to show respect to the Kazekage when he gets here, the guard said. Whatever, Kushina said. A few minutes later the Kazekage came to the gate. "What's so important that I had to come to this gate?" he asked. "You're not the old coot," Kushina said, shocked. "I don't know an old coot, but you will do well to watch your tone," the Kazekage said. "Yay, whatever, me and my family is here and this idiot won't let us in," Kushina said. "Where are your passes?" the Kazekage said. "I didn't know, being the head of the Uzumaki clan, that I need a pass to enter the village when we are one of the founding houses of this village," Kushina said. "I will not have none of your remarks. Now if you don't have a pass you won't come in," the Kazekage said. "Says who? The Uzumaki family has been in a major part of this village since before you was born," Kushina said. "Kushina, maybe we should go to another village," Anko said. "No, I have more right to come to this village than he has to being a kage of this village. By all rights I should be the Kazekage," Kushina said. "I will not be insulted by a mere peasant like you," the Kazekage said, getting ready to fight. "Peasant, why you little shit, if it wasn't for my uncle this village would have been crushed by Konoha, if it wasn't for my 5 generations grandfather this village wouldn't be here, now get out of my way, or I will put you in your place, the middle of the desert," Kushina said, as sand started to float and form around her. "You can use the iron sand," the Kazekage stuttered. "I told you once that this village was made by the Uzumaki clan. The only difference between this village and Whirlpool was that Whirlpool never had the chance to take root with all the fighting I would," does Kushina said, without stopping the use of her bloodline. "Alright mom, you rock," Naruto yelled. "Well, come in, don't let me stop you," the Kazekage said. "I wasn't," Kushina said and shoved the Kazekage out of her way. Naruto, Tenten, and Hinata quickly followed, all wanting to know how to do what she did. "Mom, how did you do that?" Naruto asked. "Yes Kushina, that was awesome," Tenten said. "Can we learn to do it?" Hinata asked. Kushina laughed. "Slow down, one question at a time. Scorpion, it is a Kekkei Genkai, something that most Uzumakis from Suna can do. Raptor, I can't teach you to do it, just like you can't teach me to use the Byakugan. The only one that can learn to use it is Naruto," she said. "I get to learn to use that, awesome. Wait, what's the Byakugan?" Naruto asked. "It's a Kekkei Genkai that involves the eyes. Kekkei Genkais are called Dojutsus. There are a total of 3 that I know of so far, the Byakugan, which is what I have, the Sharingan that the Uchihas have, and the Rinnegan. Not much is known about that one, though," Hinata said. "Very good Raptor," Kushina praised. "Mom, where are we going?" Naruto asked. "To the Uzumaki compound," Kushina said. As they walked through the village, Hinata, Tenten, and Naruto looked around the extremely hot and plainly colored village. "Kushina, look," Tenten said, pointing to a boy in the park. Kushina looked at where Tenten was pointing. "That boy, what's his name?" she asked. "Gaara," the Kazekage said. "Who are his parents?" Kushina asked. "I'm his father, his mother is dead," the Kazekage said. "What family was she from?" Kushina asked. "If you're wondering, he is not related to you," the Kazekage said. "Then how is it possible for him to use sand? It's a bloodline only known to my clan," Kushina said. "He said Shukaku in him," the Kazekage said. "But why? My uncle sealed it in a teapot, how did it get in that boy?" Kushina asked. "There was complications," the Kazekage said. "Complications? The seal was perfect, created by 3 of the best seal masters to walk this earth, my uncle, Minato, and Jiraiya," Kushina said. "I know who created it, people was trying to break the seal to use Shukaku's power," the Kazekage said. Kushina looked at him. "If I find out you're telling me a lie, I'll kill you," she said. "Mom, can we go play with him?" Naruto asked. "I'll take them," Kurenai said. "Okay, behave you 3," Kushina said. Kurenai led them over to the park. "Hey, what's your name?" "I'm Scorpion." "How did you do that with the sand?" "My mom can do it, she said it's called a Kekkei Genkai. I will learn to do it one day. Want to play with us? Do you have any brothers or sisters? Do you have any friend?" "I have 2 friends and 2 sisters. Why did those kids run from you?" "What's a monster?" Naruto asked really fast. The boy looked at Naruto confused. "Ha," he asked. "I'll translate for you. What's your name?" Tenten asked. "Gaara," he said. "Okay Gaara, how did you do that stuff with the sand?" Tenten asked. "Well, I don't know, it just happens," Gaara said. "Okay, do you have any brothers or sisters?" Tenten asked. "I have an older sister, and brother Tamari is much nicer than Kankuro though," Gaara said. "Do you have any friends?" Tenten asked. "No, only Tamari plays with me," Gaara said. "Why did those kids run from you?" Tenten asked. "Because I have Shukaku in me, they say I'm a monster," Gaara said. "Is that the same as a demon? At our last home I was called demon a lot," Naruto said. I think so," Gaara said. "Oh, want to play with us? We are new here and don't know anyone," Naruto asked. Okay," Gaara said, unsure. "Cool, let's play tag," Naruto said. "Okay, you're it, Scorpion," Tenten said. "No fair, cat," Naruto whined. "Why, afraid you can't catch us?" Tenten teased while running. "Oh, you're on, I'm going to catch all of you," Naruto said. Running into the park was a blonde-haired girl. "Oh no, I'm late, I hope Gaara didn't get into any trouble," she said. She stopped when she heard laughter and looked at Gaara playing with some kids. "Gaara made friends without me?" she asked herself. She ran up to them. "Hey, who are you? You better not have hurt my brother," she said. "No, Tamari, they asked me to play with them, they want to be my friend," Gaara said happily. Tamari looked at Gaara, then at the 3 in back. "They didn't hurt you or make fun of you, did they?" she asked. "No, we was playing tag," Gaara said. Oh, well good then I don't have to hurt them Tamari said. Hi I'm Scorpion Naruto said. Scorpion, you're named after an animal Tamari asked confused. We all are, that's Raptor and Cat Naruto said pointing at Hinata and Tenten. Why are you named after animals Tamari asked. They are not our real names, we have to go by those names until our sisters tell us we can go by our real names Hinata said. Oh what's your real names Tamari asked. We can't tell you Hinata said. Want to play tag with us Naruto asked. A week later, Kushina was sitting in the living room when Naruto and Hinata came in. Mom we are bored Naruto said. Why don't you go play Kushina asked. We just came from playing Naruto said. Kushina thought well I can start your basic training now she said. Really, I get to learn to do that sand thing now Naruto asked. Not quite yet, go find Tenten and bring her back here and we can get started Kushina said. Hinata and Naruto happily ran out the compound looking for Tenten. They found her at the park with Tamari, Gaara, and some guy. Hey cat, mom said come home and she will start our basic training Naruto said. Who are you Hinata asked the other boy. He is my brother Kankuro. Gaara came home bragging about having more friends than him, so he wanted to see if it was true Tamari said. Oh Hinata said. Well come on Cat and Raptor we get to start training today, Naruto said. You know Scorpion this ain't the first time we trained in the basics Tenten said. I know that, but this time it's official, like our first steps towards the ninja lifestyle Naruto said. He just wants to learn to use his Kekkei Genkai Hinata said. I realize the Tenten said. Well let's go Naruto urged. Okay Scorpion we are coming Tenten said. Hey can we come with you, no one is at home Tamari asked. Sure, I'll ask mom when we get there Naruto said. They all ran to the Uzumaki compound, mom Naruto yelled. In the living room Kushina yelled back. Naruto ran into the living room, can Tamari, Gaara and their brother join us he asked. Sure, now let's go, Kushina said getting up and leading them to the back. Once they got to the back Kushina lined them up in a line and stood in front of them. Okay first you all need to learn to access your chakra she said. Kushina, I learned how to access my chakra at the academy last year, Tamari said. I learned how to do it this year Kankuro said. Well just wait until the rest can access theirs, it shouldn't take long Kushina said. I can feel my chakra Hinata said. Ita Tenten said shortly after they started. Mom, I feel two chakras which do I use Naruto asked. Does one feel like it's blue and the other black Kushina asked. One feels red and the other blue Naruto said. Well for now ignore the red one and try and access the blue one Kushina said. A few minutes later Naruto smiled. I got it mom he said. Good Gaara how is it going, Kushina asked. Well I only feel a brown chakra he said. Really, you don't feel any other color Kushina asked. Gaara concentrated harder. I do when I concentrate really hard but it's hard to get it to come out he said. Okay, just concentrate on accessing what you can on the other color, for now I want you to focus on that one Kushina said. Okay, Gaara said. The rest of you since you can access your chakra we are going to work on chakra control. The first thing you need to learn is to focus chakra in one area of your body Kushina said. How do we do that mom Naruto asked. Well you all will practice walking up the wall Kushina said pointing to the compound. But how do we do that Naruto asked. I'll show you Kushina turned and calmly walked up the wall. When you first start you need to focus on it, but once you learn how to do it, then you will be able to do it without thinking she said. How did you do that Naruto yelled. Anyone want to try and describe how I did it Kushina asked. Hinata raised her hand. Okay Hinata give it a shot Kushina said. Well I'm not sure, but I think it's the same thing as when I try and activate my Byakugan. You have to single out the part of the body you want the chakra to go to. Once it's there you need to learn how much is needed for a particular thing to happen, in this case walking up the wall. So I guess that once we get our chakra to our feet we will have to test it by putting our foot on the wall and see if it sticks. If it don't, then we have to try again until we get it right. If it does then we should be able to put our other foot on the wall and hopefully we have it right and we can walk up it, if not we fall and hurt ourselves, Hinata said. Nice job Hinata, that's exactly how you do it and I like how you compared it to activating your Byakugan Kushina said. So we have to focus chakra to our feet Naruto asked. Correct, I want you all to practice this while I work with Gaara. If you need help don't be afraid to ask for it, that's why I'm here Kushina said. Kushina went over to Gaara. How is it coming she asked. I can feel it, but I can't do anything with it Gaara said. I see, I know someone who can help you with that, but it might take a while for them to get here Kushina said. Okay I will continue practicing until they get here Gaara said. Kushina we have a problem Anko said running into the back. What's wrong Kushina asked. Konoha is here, word got out about the Uzumaki clan coming back to Suna and Naruto being named after you caused the Hokage to send someone here Anko said. This is a problem Kushina said. What's wrong mom Naruto asked. Nothing son, continue to practice while walking Kushina said. What should we do, we can't leave it would look too suspicious Anko said. I know, Kushina thought for a minute. I got it, you and Kurenai go put on some of my clothes and change your looks. You both know the jutsu to change your hair and eye color, use that and come up with a new name, hurry, because we will need to know your names until they leave. I'll take care of Naruto, Hinata, and Tenten, Kushina said. Okay, but what about you, Anko asked. I have nothing to worry about, I never became a Konoha Kunoichi, and as head of the Uzumaki clan, they can't do anything to me without causing war between Kiri, Suna, and Konoha, Kushina said. Kiri, why Kiri, Anko asked. Our Whirlpool branch had a treaty with them, and it extended to all Uzumakis, even the branch living in Suna. I sent a letter to the Mizukage. I have a meeting with her in a few weeks, Kushina said. Oh, well, we will be back, Anko said and ran into the house. Naruto, Tenten, and Hinata, come here, Kushina said. The three walked up to her. Listen carefully, Konoha sent some ninjas here to find out if one of you are from Konoha. Since I decided to start the clan back up, I'm going to change your hair, eyes, and voice. These changes will only last until they leave, then I will end them. Also, don't say anything that will make anyone think you haven't lived with me your entire lives, okay, she said. Yes, they all said. Kushina proceeded to change their basic looks and voice. Good, Raptor, you look good with blue eyes and hair, she said. What color are mine, Mom? Naruto asked. Yours are eyes are bluish purple, and your hair is red like mine. You look quite handsome if I do say so myself, Kushina said. What about me, Kushina? Tenten asked. Your eyes are light green and your hair is blonde, Kushina told her. I'm a blonde, Tenten asked. What's wrong with being a blonde? Temari asked. Nothing, just never figured I would change my hair color to be a blonde, Tenten said. Anko and Kurenai came out the house in different clothes and their hair and eye color changed. Kushina looked at them and laughed. Did you peek when I changed their eyes and hair color? She asked. No, I just picked a random color, Kurenai said. I picked a color I would never think of, Anko said. Well, since you look the part, I suggest that Kurenai play the role of Hinata's mother, while Anko play the role of Tenten's mother, Kushina said. That's a good idea, now let's go meet them, Anko said. Let's, you all stay here, can continue to train, Kushina said. The three walked to the front of the compound and saw Jiraiya. The three sweat dropped. What are you doing here, Kushina asked. I'm here to visit you, but did you know that a group of Jounins was here from Konoha? Jiraiya asked. I knew that, but I thought they sent you, Kushina said. Why would I care, I have a life outside of that village, Jiraiya said. I know that, pervert, Kushina said. Is this the Uzumaki compound, a Konoha Jounin asked. Depends on who wants to know, Kushina said. I'm Heiid and I'm here with Genma and Kakashi, he said. They just had to send that pervert, Kushina groaned. What's the matter, sister? Kurenai asked, getting into her role as Kushina's younger sister. Nothing, just we have the two biggest perverts ever trying to get into our house, Kushina said. I guess we better get this over with so we can get back to training our kids, Anko said. I guess, can you wait here, Jiraiya-sensei, while I deal with Konoha? Kushina asked. Sure, I saw someone I need to catch up with anyway, Jiraiya said. Okay, oh, I need your help with something later, Kushina said. Right, later, Jiraiya said and walked away. Well, you three, are you coming? Anko asked and turned to walk into the house. What exactly are you looking for? Kurenai asked. We need to see any other people living here named Uzumaki, Heiid said. Fine, follow us, Kurenai said, and the three Kunoichis led them out to the yard. You can look and see which are our kids and which are just friends of theirs, Kurenai said. The three Jounins walked up to the kids. They immediately knew Gaara wasn't one because of the dark look on his face, and he looked like the Kazekage. They next eliminated Kankiru based on the same thing as Gaara. They came to Tenten and Temari. These two look like they could be the blonde ladies, Genma said. Yes, but none are a male, Heiid said. Yes, the blue-haired girl is clearly the blue-haired lady's daughter, but it's the red-haired boy that I'm curious about, Kakashi said. Why? Heiid asked. Because, Kushina and Sensei only had one kid, Naruto, and this certainly ain't Naruto, or it is him just under a jinjutsu or something, Kakashi said, looking at Naruto, who started to get nervous under his gaze. We would have noticed a jinjutsu already, Heiid said. No, we wouldn't have. Kushina was the second best Kunoichi in Jinjutsu to ever step in Konoha behind Kurenai. Now Kurenai and Anko comes up missing, and these two pop up claiming to be related to Kushina, Kakashi said. What are you getting at? Heiid asked. Kushina once said that her entire family was killed, Kakashi said. How? It would be almost impossible to know if the entire family was killed. The Uzumaki clan had two branches, one here in Suna, the other in Whirlpool. But the one in Whirlpool had a good relationship with Kiri. They could have easily fled to Kiri when civil war started to spill over into Whirlpool, Heiid said. Yes, that would explain the other two and their daughters, but that don't explain him. Kushina only had one child, Kakashi said. How can you be so sure? The Hokage did run her out of the village before she was healed. She could have easily had twins, Heiid said. Not likely, Kakashi said. Just like it's not likely that of all the places in the world, Kyuubi decide to attack Konoha on the day Kushina is having her baby, Heiid asked. I'm telling you, Naruto faked his death and ran away from the village. He somehow was found by Kushina and brought here. This is Naruto, Kakashi said. Wait, what if it is? What would you do? Not like Kushina will let us walk out of here with her son, Genma asked. He already faked his death. My orders was to eliminate anyone who is a fraud, Kakashi said. And again, what makes you so sure this is Naruto and not another kid? Hell, he could be adopted for all we know, Genma asked. All at instinct, I know it's him, Kakashi said, not taking his eyes off Naruto. Mom, Hinata said. Okay, enough, what are you three whispering about? Either say it out loud or get the hell out of our home, Kurenai said. And stop blaring at my son, Kakashi, or I'll take your only good eye, Kushina said. The Hokage gave me orders to bring Naruto back to Konoha, Kakashi said. The Hokage, the same Hokage who told me that Naruto was dead, the same Hokage who created a corpse out of a dead child's body, the same Hokage who ran me out of the village before I was fully recovered from giving birth, the same fucking Hokage who failed to follow Minato's wishes by giving me the house and scrolls he left for me and my son, who your Hokage told me was dead, the same Hokage who up until now had absolutely no interest in my safety, or if I was alive until he heard me and my sisters was restarting the Uzumaki clan with our 3 kids here in Suna, the same fucking Hokage who has no damn morals, the same fucking Hokage who let a fucking perverted sadistic child molester go free after he found out he killed kids, helpless woman, and men for his experiments because he couldn't bring himself to kill his favorite student. That Hokage is trying to tell me what to do. No, tell your Hokage if he ever send anyone after me, my sisters, or our kids, we will kill whoever he sent, Kushina said. As she went through that, she got angrier and angrier until she had her iron sand bloodline spinning around her. I think you have worn out your welcome. I suggest you leave or we will kill you, Anko said. And don't think about touching anything on your way out, Kurenai said. As the 3 walked out the yard, a lady walked in. She looked at the 3 Jounins, then continued to walk towards Kushina, Anko, and Kurenai. Hello, Anko and Kurenai, she said once she was sure that the 3 Jounins was out of hearing distance. I don't know who you are, but you have the wrong people, Anko said. The lady rolled her eyes. Don't play games with me, Anko. You almost had me fooled with those fake bodies and the rape you tried to put on Hiashi and Fugaku. But you forget I know you two better than anyone in that village. Besides, Anko, I saw you two leave the village while I was on patrol, she said. Okay, you got them. Now who are you, Kushina asked. Yuigao, Kurenai and Anko said at the same time. Yup, how could you two do something like this and not include me? I thought we was best friends, Yuigao said. Sorry, we was going to write you and let you know what was going on, but we needed to wait until everything died down, Anko said. But you still did all this without me, Yuigao said. It would have been too obvious if we included you, Kurenai said. To who? Hiashi didn't even care that Hinata was dead, only that no one could stop Hanabi from crying. Tenten's adopted parents was the same, and the only people who was worried about Naruto was me and Tucci, and to an extent the Hokage, Yuigao said. Fine, we are sorry we didn't include you, but it's not like the plan was well thought out anyway. Anko came up with it 2 hours before we left the village. We had to scramble to get enough food, clothes, weapons, and cover our escape, Kurenai said. Fine, next time don't do anything like that without me, Yuigao said. Anko and Kurenai said. Wait, how did you get out of the village, Kushina asked. I'm supposed to be on a mission. I staged my death, bloody clothes, the hit I ate sliced off my head, broke my Anbu sword. I think I did a pretty convincing job, Yuigao said. You thought this through to the end, didn't you, Anko asked. Unlike you, I planned this out since I saw your dead bodies. The moment I saw them I knew you wasn't dead, but finding you two is damn near impossible when you want it to be, Yuigao said. How did you find us, Kurenai asked. I heard about the Uzumaki clan starting up and put 2 and 2 together. Naruto dead, you two faked your deaths, then add Hinata and Tenten just to spit into Konoha's face, and now Kushina wants to organize her clan again after what happened to her. Really, anyone who looked at the clues could have figured that you was here, but lucky for you, only I went to look at your dead bodies. And the Hokage didn't even check Naruto's body, he just looked at it from his bedroom door. The bodies still had Anko's smell on them, Yuigao said. No one else figured it out, Kushina asked. No, Hiashi and Fugaku burnt the building Anko and Kurenai's body was in, so no one would find their body, and the evidence pointing to them for all those rapes, and the building Naruto was living in, was set to be torn down anyway, Yuigao said. Well, what now, Anko asked. I don't know about you, Anko, but I'm going to officially adopt Hinata, Kurenai said. I could adopt Tenten, she reminds me of myself at her age, Anko said. So Kushina, can I become an honorary member of the clan, Yuigao asked. Of course, anyone who treats my son as if he was their friend is a friend of mine, Kushina said. Mom, I got it, I can walk on the wall, Hinata cheered on the side of the wall. Hinata, you know you don't have to keep up the act and stop doing that or you will fall, Kurenai said. Oh, Hinata said, then lost her control and fell off the wall. Hinata, Kurenai yelled and ran to catch her. Hinata, you have to be more careful, she said. Hinata smiled up at her. Sorry, I was just happy, she said. I know you're happy, but be more careful, Kurenai said. I will, Hinata said. So Hinata is your name, Kankiru said. That's Raptor to you, Hinata retorted. Kushina, I'm back, what did you need me to help you with, Jiraiya called out walking into the back. Oh Jiraiya, I need you first to look at the seal on Naruto to make sure that it's still working properly, then look at the seal on Gaara, Kushina said. Sure, Jiraiya looked at them. Which one is Naruto, he asked. That's me, Naruto said. Jiraiya looked at his red hair and bluish purple eyes. Aren't you supposed to have blonde hair and blue eyes, he asked. I changed them so I didn't have to deal with Konoha at the moment, Kushina said. Jiraiya nodded. Well, lift your shirt so I can see your seal, he said. He looked over the seal. It's perfect. Now where is Gaara, he asked. Gaara got up. That's me, he said. Well, show me your seal, Jiraiya said. Gaara took off his shirt to show the seal on his shoulder. Jiraiya looked at it. Whoever did this really screwed up. This can barely hold a bug, let alone a tailed beast, he said. It don't. Shukaku has all but ruined Gaara's life so far, as if it's trying to make him insane, Tamari said. I wouldn't doubt it's doing that. I can improve the seal, but not by much. The best I can do is add a seal to it. This new seal will at best control how much influence Shukaku has over you, Jiraiya said. Will I be able to sleep, Gaara said. I'm not sure, but I can try, but remember I'm not making any promises, Jiraiya said. Okay, I'll take my chances, Gaara said. Jiraiya started to make marks on Gaara with a brush while going through one-hand signs and whispering to himself. This continued for the next hour when Jiraiya stopped. There, I'm done. This seal works off your emotions and feelings. As long as you don't let your emotions become too dark, you can keep Shukaku back, he said. Thank you, Gaara said and fell back unconscious. Is he okay, Naruto asked. We will find out in a few hours, Jiraiya said, picking him up. I'm going to take him to Tsunade in the hospital, he said and walked off. Well, get back to training, Kushina said. Inuzuka walked into the living room and saw Kushina sitting there reading a scroll. You might be interested in something I found in Naruto's room before I left, she said. What's that, Kushina asked. A marriage contract, Inuzuka said, handing it to her. Kushina took it and read and smiled. Leave it to Tsume to do something like this, she said. What do you mean? I didn't read the entire thing, just enough to know what it was, Inuzuka asked. Tsume wrote up this contract for Naruto and Hana. She even explained what it was and how it worked. She also wrote this is the only way she would be able to protect him, Kushina said. So what will you do, Inuzuka asked. I'm going to sign it. She had good intentions and was trying to help, Kushina said. In Konoha, Tsume was sitting at the kitchen table when a dragon flew in the window and dropped a scroll in front of her. Thanks, Tsume said in confusion. The dragon then puffed out of the realm of people. Tsume blinked and opened the scroll, her eyes widened in surprise. Hana, get in here, she yelled. Hana came running in the kitchen. What's wrong, Mom, she asked. Remember that marriage scroll we sent to Naruto, Tsume asked. Yay, we never found out if he would have liked to marry me or not, Haynes said. We just did, look, Tsume said. Hana read the scroll, but I thought the Hokage said how did he get in Suna, and who is Kushina, she asked confused. We will find out soon enough, we have been invited to visit them, Tsume said. Is Kiba coming, Hana asked. No, the invitation was just for the two of us, Tsume said. In Suna, Kushina stood in the back with Naruto training in chakra control. Naruto want to go meet the Mizukage with me later this week, she asked. Really, I can, Naruto asked excited. Of course, Kushina said. Yay, Naruto cheered. 3 days later, Tsume and Hana came to the main gate riding on Kuro, Tsume's dog. Hello, we are here to meet Kushina, Uzumaki, Tsume said. Yes, she told me you would be coming, go ride on through, the guard said. They walked up to the compound. Mom, what if he doesn't like me? Hana asked nervously. Don't worry, sweetie, he enjoyed your company when he was still in Konoha, Tsume said. That's because I was the only person who would play with him, even though he smelled like a fox, Hana said. There is a reason for that smell, Tsume said. I know, but can you tell me why, Hana asked. I can't, that's his secret and his responsibility to tell you, Tsume said as the compound door opened. Welcome to the Uzumaki compound, I'm Kushina, the head of the clan, Kushina said. Tsume, head of the Inuzuka clan, and this is my daughter Hana, heir to the clan, Tsume said. Well, come in, Hana can go play in the back until the kids come back from the park, it won't be long since it's almost lunchtime, Kushina said. Hana, take Kuro to the back and don't leave the yard, Tsume said. Yes, Mom, Hana said and walked through the house with the giant dog. Cute kid, Kushina said. Yes, reminds me of myself, Tsume said. Tea, Kushina offered. Yes please, Tsume said. Kushina got them both some tea. So why are you so interested in marrying Hana off to Naruto? It's not because he is the son of the Yondaime, is it, she asked. No, actually I got the idea from them too. They would play like they was married at times, then they would play ninja with Kuro, my dog, then they would act like brothers and sisters, then go back to playing husband and wife, Tsume said. I see, Naruto never mentioned having a playmate, Kushina said. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't, Tsume said. So would you say you and Naruto have a good relationship, Kushina asked. I would say he has a better relationship with Kuro than with me, Tsume laughed. Kushina laughed lightly. I can believe that. Kiri, my scorpion summon, have taken a liking to him. Gamabunta and his 2 kid toads have taken a liking to him, and most animals here in Suna likes him, she said. I think that's what made Hana start liking him, his willingness to adapt and learn what animals like and want without being able to speak to them, Tsume said. Really? Tell me more, Kushina said. Well, the first time he went to the compound, Hana was in the cattles feeding the dogs when Naruto ran up to help her. He would constantly sneak into the compound at night and have conversations with the dogs. Even though he don't know what they are saying, he had a lot of fun pretending by himself. One day Hana decided to play a prank on him, and every time he would say something she would answer for the dogs. After telling them not to bark, Naruto thought he could speak to dogs. It was so cute seeing him so excited about having someone answer his questions without the hateful looks in their eyes. Unknown to Naruto, that was the first time he had a conversation with someone his own age. After that night, Hana begged me to let him come over more to play with the dogs. She wasn't even thinking of herself, but how much fun the dogs was having with Naruto. Eventually she started to join him. I think Naruto started to develop a way of understanding dogs to a certain extent, Tsunade said. Kushina smiled. I wish I could have been there for that. I bet it was so exciting to watch the two interact with all the dogs, and it may be an effect of having Kyuubi sealed him. Foxes and dogs are cousins after all, she said. It was, but I had Naruto promise not to tell anyone he was coming over, Tsunade said. Why would you do that, Kushina asked. Because, almost no one in Konoha likes Naruto. I even saw someone kill a cat who Naruto gave his only food to because it was hungry. Can you imagine what would happen if anyone knew I was allowing him in the Inuzuka compound? No matter how much I like him, I have to look out for my family. If someone found out he was playing with Hana a few nights every week and something happened to her, well, I don't know what I would have done, so I made him promise not to say anything, not even to the Hokage. I guess he felt his promise meant he couldn't tell you either, Tsunade said. I understand, you did what was best for everyone. Naruto gets a friend and your family stays safe, Kushina said. Yes, but sometimes I wish I could have done more. That was one reason for the marriage contract, and because the two just had so much fun together while playing, Tsunade said. But what would have happened if people knew you had a contract with him? Then wouldn't they try and stop it? Kushina asked. Well, yay, but I wasn't going to say anything until he became a genin. Also, part of the contract said I would train him every night once he started the academy, Tsunade said. Speaking of the contract, you are aware that he has the option to marry multiple females if he pleases, Kushina asked. Yes, I'm aware of that. I even told Hana about him having a bloodline and being able to marry multiple women. She said that she will only love Naruto, even if she has to share him. Her only worry is he won't like her anymore, Tsunade said. Also, I would like it if Hana moved here once they was old enough to marry, for obvious reasons, Kushina said. Well, with Hana being clan heir makes it difficult. Our clan just can't appoint a new heir because of marriage contracts. A new heir head can only be appointed when the current one dies, Tsunade said. So Hana will have to still serve as the head of the Inuzuka clan, even if she marries Naruto, Kushina asked. Exactly, and her being here makes that difficult, and I don't want him to have to come to Konoha, Tsunade said. Let's think of a solution on this problem later. I want to know how can one marry into another clan and still be head of their previous clan. Usually when one marries into another clan, the female will drop her position and become part of the male's clan, but there are a few times when the male dropped his position and went to the female's clan, Kushina said. I realize that there are times when there was a representative for the head. For instance, my grandfather married into another clan and used a representative for things he wasn't needed for, and another time my great-grandfather moved in with my great-grandmother even though he was the head of a smaller clan. Since his clan was small enough, they combined it with our clan. That's where we got our branch family from. They even learned some of our jutsus. Even though they will never have a true Inuzuka ability, they are still treated as equals, Tsunade said. Good to know we have those options, but I still don't see how that would work, Kushina said. I know we have a real problem. Never have someone married back into a village they previously left, Tsunade said. I know, I'm starting to think all Uzumakis defy all types of logic, Kushina said. Tsunade laughed, like mother like son, she said. What makes you say that, Kushina asked, laughing. You survive after basically being kicked out the village right after birth, when any other woman wouldn't have even been able to walk. You was fine for who knows how long. Naruto has received beating so bad that most jounins would have died, yet you both are fine, as if nothing bad happened to either of you, Tsunade said. Kushina nodded. I was on my own for 2 months before Tsunade found and healed me. Of course I tried to find ways to die so I can join Naruto in the afterlife, she said. See, like mother like son, you both have this weird ability to stay alive when you should be dead, and you're right, you two defy all aspects of the word logic, Tsunade said. Mom, is lunch ready? Naruto asked, running into the house with Hinata and Tenten close behind him. Naruto, we have a visitor, Kushina said. Naruto looked at the visitor. Tsunade-san, he said with excitement. You remember me, but if I remember correctly you had blonde hair last time I saw you, Tsunade said, hugging him. Mom changed my hair and eyes to hide from Konoha, but changed my eyes back. I asked her to keep my hair the same, so it can be the same as hers, Naruto said. You look good with red hair. Guess who is in the back, Tsunade said. Who? Tell me please. Oh wait, I know, it's Kuro, isn't it? Naruto said, hopping from leg to leg. Yes, Kuro and Hana, Tsunade said as she watched his face light up with excitement. Hana, Naruto called out at the top of his lungs and ran through the house to the yard. Tsume and Kushina laughed. Slow down Naruto, she isn't going anywhere, Kushina called after him. Who is Hana, Hinata asked. Oh, Hinata Tenten, this is Tsume Inuzuka, head of the Inuzuka clan, and her daughter is Hana, heir of the clan. Hana and Naruto are friends, Kushina said. Naruto ran in the yard. Hana, he called and tackled said girl in a hug. Hana was surprised at first then laughed. Naruto, how are you? I missed you so much, she said. I missed you too, Naruto said, getting off her. He then turned to Kuro. How are you, Kuro, keeping the other dogs in order without my help, he asked. Kuro barked and licked Naruto. Me it is have puppies, that's great. How many, Naruto asked. Kuro barked again. 3. Wow, who do you think will get them this time? Last time you was right on who got the new puppy. Maybe you can guess right this time, Naruto said. The dog barked and licked Naruto and Hana. Whoa Hana, you really think so, Naruto asked. Whoa, slow down you 3, the puppies are not even born yet and Hana isn't quite ready for her own dog, Tsume said from the doorway. Tenten and Hinata looked at Naruto. How can you understand dogs, they asked. Naruto shrugged. I don't know and I can only understand certain dogs, he said. I think it's an ability he is getting from Kyuubi. He is going to need training to full develop the ability, but he won't be able to do more than talk to dogs, Tsume said. I'm going to need an Inuzuka to train him to talk to dogs, Kushina said. I'll take care of that when I get home, for now I'm just going to enjoy watching the kids, Tsume said. Hinata Tenten want to ride on Kuro, it's so fun, Naruto asked. The two not ones to turn down a fun new game, ran to the giant dog and climbed on along with Hana and Naruto. The two adults watched the kids laugh and have fun. I think we need a dog, Kushina said. I will send you one, it won't be a fighting dog, but more of a house dog, but it will be able to protect your house when you're gone, Tsume said. That will be awesome, Kushina said. Yay, and you never have to worry about intruders when you're gone. The dog will study everyone scent who lives here, and if anyone tries to get in the dog will attack, Tsume said. Good, I have scrolls that I don't want to get out of our family. That reminds me, can you get a hold of everything that I'm supposed to have from Minato and send it to me? I'm not worried about the money, but the jutsus and things in the house is what I want, especially the pictures to show Naruto and my future grandchildren, Kushina asked. I will work on that, it should be easy enough with the Hokage thinking Naruto is dead. The security around the Namikaze compound has all but ended, so far no one was able to break through the front gate, Tsume said. Kushina pulled out a key. I think this should still work, she said, handing it to Tsume. I think it will, I'll send everything in a large scroll with the Inuzuka representative that will help Naruto develop his dog speech, Tsume said. I wonder if my grandchildren will have dog speech also, Kushina said, looking at the 4 kids. Well, at least the ones from Hana will, the ones from Hinata and Tenten has a 50% chance of being able to talk to dogs, Tsume said, looking at the kids also. Look at us, talking like we are old enough for grandchildren, Kushina laughed. What can I say, it's every mother's desire to have grandchildren before they are too old to play with them, Tsume laughed. Kushina laughed with her, then thought of something. How will Naruto's bloodline affect Hana's and Hinata's bloodline, she asked. I'm not sure, I think since Hinata has a Dijutsu their kids will get both, but I'm not sure about Hana's and Naruto's kids. I would assume that the kids will get both, or I hope they do, Tsume said. Cross-clan marriages is confusing at times, Kushina said. It can be, that's why it does not happen much because of the fear of bloodlines being wiped out completely, Tsume said. But that's impossible, because even if an entire generation of kids have bloodline A and not B, eventually bloodline B will pop up again, since it is still in the genes of everyone who was born from the 2 clans, Kushina said. I know, but it's the risk that keeps clans with bloodlines from marrying into other clans with bloodlines. It's much easier to marry someone without a bloodline and guarantee that the bloodline is continued on into the future, Tsume said. Anko walked into the back with a confused look on her face. What's going on, she asked. Anko, I'm sure you know Tsume and her daughter Hana, Kushina asked. Yes, but why are they here, Anko asked. Well, in Konoha Naruto and Hana had a secret friendship with the protection of Tsume, allowing them to play in the compound. Naruto had to promise not to say nothing out of fear of how people would react to him having a friend and it being the Inuzuka era that Kushina said. Oh, that would explain why he was outside after midnight the day me and Kurenai saved him, Anko said. No, it don't, he never came to the compound because we was having the doghouses cleaned. I questioned the Hokage on why he was out of the orphanage, all he said was unforeseen circumstances prevented him from being there that day, Tsume said. Unforeseen circumstances, stances like what, Anko asked. He wouldn't elaborate on it, Tsume said. So he really didn't care if Naruto was killed that day or not, just acted like he did in front of Naruto, Anko said. Anko, it doesn't matter now, we already know where the Hokage stand on the subject. I knew when he told me Naruto was dead, then kicked me out the village 2 minutes later, Kushina said. I'm just happy Naruto was taken out of the village before the Hokage accidentally forget Naruto's protection and someone ends up killing him, Tsume said. Yes, everything worked out for the best and he still can play with his best friends, Kushina said. Anko looked at them. You know, I think I saw those 2 running across the village on top of a dog throwing balloons at buildings, she said. Tsume laughed, I remember that, both Hana and Naruto said it was Kuro's idea, well he blamed the two kids, and I ended up paying a team of Inuzuka genins clean the paint before the village woke up the next day she said. Kushina smiled, so he did inherit my full personality, even the pranks she said. Oh yes, just wait he will start them here as soon as he learns where every street leads to Tsume said. Mom is lunch ready Naruto yelled. He even think like you Tsume said. Like mother like son Kushina said in a sing-song voice going into the house to get their lunch. The next day the four kids was on the back of Kuro as the dog ran around the yard barking and wagging his tail. When Tsume came out, Hana time to go she called. Now can't we stay a little longer Hana pouted. Sorry sweetie, but you have to go to the academy tomorrow and I need to catch up on the paperwork I missed Tsume said. Okay mom Hana said sadly. Don't be sad, you can come back and play with them again Tsume said. You promise Hana said. Yes I promised Tsume said. Bye Naruto, Hinata, and Tenten Hana said to each. Bye Hana they replied. Kuro barked, bye Kuro they added. Naruto get ready we are leaving tomorrow to meet the Mizukage Kushina said. Okay mom Naruto said and ran into the house. In Kiri, Gaara end this treaty with the Uzumakis now someone said. Yes Lord Uchiha Gaara said. Gaara grabbed his Mizukage's hat and walked out the cage's tower. He walked to the gate and looked at the two red heads that was there, what do you want he asked. I'm here to renew the treaty between Kiri and the Uzumaki clan Kushina said. I'm not interested in your treaty he said and turned away. Kushina glared at his back then turned, let's go Naruto she said. Gaara was walking towards the tower when a dark figure appeared, that boy kill him the figure said. Yes Lord Uchiha Gaara said. Kushina grabbed Naruto and jumped out the way of the surprise attack, what the hell is your problem she asked. My lord wants him dead Gaara said. Kushina glared at him, attack my son again, and I will kill you she said. Gaara pulled the giant sword off his back and pointed it at Naruto. Kushina stood in front of Naruto and grabbed her katana off her back. Gaara snapped his fingers and Kiri's Anbu appeared, kill the boy he said. So you can't fight one-on-one Kushina asked. Gaara just attacked without saying anything. Kushina stood her ground and blocked his attack. Kushina activated her Iron Sand Bloodline, secret attack. Iron decomposition she called out. She then attacked Gaara with her katana. Confused because nothing happened Gaara attacked her. They traded blows until Gaara coughed up blood, what did you do he asked confused. I used my bloodline to decay the iron in your blood, the more you move the faster the process will happen until you die Kushina said. Lord Mizukage the Anbu yelled and attacked Kushina. Before they could reach her the temperature raised until everyone was drenched in sweat and a blonde Kunoichi appeared then the temperature returned to how it is supposed to be. The Anbu and Kushina looked confused, who are you the head Anbu asked. I'm Kasumi and I'm the leader of the last bloodline users in Kiri she said. So some of you freaks did survive the purge the Anbu said. Oh a whole lot more than you would think Kasumi said then the rest of the group jumped from the roofs of the nearby buildings. We are no longer going to hide our powers, we will use them to fix Kiri and make it into the place it once was Kasumi said. We will take care of you after we deal with those two the Anbu leader said. No we will settle this now Kasumi then turned to Kushina, get your kid and get out of here, we will make sure no one follows you she said. I leave, but only because I have my son with me Kushina said. Follow me, the rest will make sure no one follows us Kasumi said. Lead on Kushina said. They reached the gate, safe travels, hopefully this civil war will end soon Kasumi said. Hopefully, if you ever need help you can always contact me Kushina said. I'll remember the Kasumi said. Then Suna, Kushina and Naruto walked into the compound and saw a bunch of scrolls all over the place, what is all this Kushina asked. Oh you're back, how did it go, Anko asked. Not so good, Kiri is in a civil war, the cage is trying to kill off all the bloodlines Kushina said. Oh, well this is the stuff my snake brought back from Konoha, I don't know why it took so long, though Anko said. Oh, what did they bring you Kushina asked. Well most of it is jutsus, but there are some letters addressed to you Anko said. Addressed to me Kushina asked. Yup Anko said tossing her a few scrolls. Kushina read the letters, how about that she said. How about what Kurenai asked walking in from the yard. It says in this letter that if somehow I was to die then everything Minato owns will go to Tsume until Naruto is old enough to inherit it. It also says that Naruto is to be adopted by anyone who wishes to adopt him if I wasn't able to take care of him Kushina said. Really? No wonder that letter was hidden, Anko said. But get this, it was signed by the third on the day Kyuubi attacked Kushina said. 3 years later, Gaara and Naruto was running from the academy being chased by a group of 10 girls, all ranging from 8 to 10. The two 8-year-olds turned a corner and was stopped by another group of girls. Naruto nice knowing you Gaara said. You to Gaara Naruto said. We have them cornered one of the girls yelled. At them another yelled. Any ideas Gaara asked. The A1 Naruto said. Well tell me Gaara said. Close your eyes Naruto said. Gaara was confused but did as told. Warwick no jutsu Naruto called out and transformed into a taller version of himself but naked. All the girls fainted from blood loss because of the jutsu. Let's go, Gaara, Naruto said, and the two started to run again. Naruto ran into his compound and slammed the door shut. Again, Kushina asked from her chair. Mom, this is crazy, it happens every day, Naruto complained. Kushina laughed. That's what happens when you have fangirls, she said. I hate fangirls, Naruto said. Jiraiya is coming to visit again, Kushina said. Really, I can't wait, it's been like 5 years since she last visited, Naruto said, exaggerating. It's only been 5 months, Kushina said. Where is Hina and Tenny, Naruto asked. They are with their mothers, Kushina said. Oh, they always keep those girls off me when we leaving the academy, Naruto said. What happened to Temari, she is still at the academy right, Kushina asked. No, she graduated early and Kankuro was too busy laughing at me and Gaara to help us, Naruto said. Maybe he was getting back at you too for that prank you pulled on him, Kushina said. Naruto smiled evilly, he deserved it, he said. Maybe, I have to go, son, Koi will be here with you until Yugao comes home, make sure you feed the Inu, Kushina said. His name is Nato, Naruto said. Whatever, you, Hina and Tenny all called him by different names, Kushina said, kissing him on the head. Will you be home for dinner this time, Naruto asked before she could leave. Kushina stopped and looked at him. I'll be here, I promise, she said with a smile. Kushina walked into the meeting room. Now that we all are here, we discovered a spy in the village, the elder said. Oh, who was this spy, Kushina asked. The Kazekage, the elder said. The Kazekage, how is he a spy, Kushina asked. Well, I don't know how it happened, but he was seen multiple times meeting with Orochimaru. One of those meetings dealt with delivering him your son, the elder said. I'll kill them both before they get a chance to touch my son, Kushina said. Well, before you do that, we need a new leader. I already sent word to the daimyo. He agreed that a new Kazekage was needed, the elder said. How do we pick a new leader, the representative for one of the shinobi families said. Leave that to me, first we have to catch him in the act before we can do anything. He has too much support from the people for us to just overthrow him, Kushina said. How long will this take, the elder asked. At least 5 years, Kushina said. We don't have that much time, the elder said. Trust me, I won't let anything happen to this village, Kushina said. The elder thought for a minute. Okay, if anything happens during these 5 years, it is your responsibility to fix it, he said. Bill, Kushina said. 4 years later, the 12-year-olds was sitting in their class waiting to be put on a team. Since it was 4 of them, they knew they wouldn't be on the same team, but hoped they would somehow be teamed together. Their teacher walked into the room. Gaara, the Kazekage has put you on a team with your brother and sister, Hinata, Naruto, and Tenten will be on a team with Kushina as your sensei, he said. Kushina walked into the room. Let's go, you three. Gaara, you can leave, your team won't be meeting today, she said. She led them to the compound so they could train without being watched or bothered by Naruto's fangirls. Okay, you three, now that you are genins, we are going to increase your training, she said. We, Naruto asked, confused. Yes, I'm training you, Naruto, Kushina said. I'm training Hinata, Kuranai said from her seat. And I'm training Tenten, Anko said from her seat. Now since we don't need to worry about your teamwork, we can focus on your individual skills, Kushina said. Tsunade walked into the back. Don't forget our agreement, she said. We won't, you get them every day after dinner, Kushina said. What deal, Hinata asked. We agreed that if she stays with us in Suna, she can train you all in medics once you become genins, Anko said. Medics, I can't pummel someone into the ground with medics, Naruto said. Why does that sound familiar, Tsunade asked looking at Kushina. Kushina shrugged innocently. I don't know, she said. Of course you don't, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree with this one, Kushina, Tsunade said. Naruto, if you learn medics you will get to sign the scorpion contract, Kushina said. Really, Naruto asked. Yup, Kushina said. Deal, Naruto said. A month into their training as genins, Kushina had an idea. Hey, I want to take you three out of the village for a special mission, she said. What kind of special mission, Naruto asked. Well, there is this country called Wave, they are being run into the ground, and the people sent out letters asking for help. Now if we do this we won't get paid, but the rewards will be much better than money, Kushina said. You mean we get to help people have better lives, Naruto asked. Yes, Kushina told him. I want to go, Naruto said. So do I, Tenten said. I'll go, Hinata said. Could we leave in the morning, Kushina said. In Wave. The four arrived in Wave after 2 weeks of traveling through Fire Country. As they traveled, Kushina noticed something. Shit, stay down and don't move, she told them. What's wrong, Mom, Naruto asked. Quiet, stay here and don't move or talk, Kushina demanded and jumped off into the trees. She came to an open area and found Kakashi fighting Zabuza. Damn it, why did they have to come? Also, she cursed as she watched the fight. She also noticed someone else with a mask on and crept up on them. Don't move and you won't die, she said. How did you get up on me without me noticing you, the masked ninja asked. Don't worry about that, what side are you on, Kakashi's or Zabuza's, Kushina asked. Zabuza-sama's side, the masked ninja said. Good, you might want to help him since he is about to be killed, Kushina said. Kushina watched as the masked ninjas faked Zabuza's death, then jumped back into the trees. Thank you, the ninja said. Don't worry, we have a common enemy this time, but remember this, your life is not worth someone else playing with, you can be a much better ninja if you leave Zabuza, Kushina said. Don't talk bad about Zabuza-sama or I'll kill you, the masked ninja said. What's your name, Kushina asked all of a sudden. Haku, the ninja said. Well Haku, Zabuza was almost killed by Kakashi, if you was trained by him, then you have no room to threaten me, but remember what I said, someone like him will only use you until you're of no more use to him, then he will cast you aside for someone stronger. Is your life worth being in the hands of a man who will willingly kill you if he found someone stronger to do his biddings, Kushina asked, then jumped off. Haku watched as Kushina left thinking about what she said. Kushina led her team around the country so they could get a clue about how everything was. The things they saw made them all want to cry, especially when a kid who looked around 5 years old asked them for food. Mom, we have to do something, Naruto said. I know, just make sure to stay in the shadows, we don't want the ninjas from Konoha to know we are here, Kushina said. Kushina watched as the three ran off in different directions to offer help and fix as much as they could, each had a few clones following them. Kushina walked to the nearest building after making sure no one was in it, she went through some hand signs, Doten. Building restoration, she called out and fixed the building to look like new. Everyone around her looked at the newly fixed building in surprise. How did you do that, someone asked. I'm a kunoichi, I used a jutsu to fix the building, Kushina told them. Thank you so much, you fixed my house, someone else said. Don't thank me, I will be fixing every building in the country, Kushina told them. You're here to save us from Gato, someone asked. Who is Gato, Kushina asked. He is the reason why our village is so poor, he taxes us so much for everything that we can barely feed our families, and the food we can get is so bad that it's not worth trying to eat, someone told her. I see, where can I find this Gato person, Kushina asked. No one knows where he lives, the villager told her. Okay, I'll find him and make him pay for what he has done, Kushina said. Kushina continued to restore the buildings when someone walked up to her. Can I help you, she asked. The lady looked at her. You never told me what your name was, she said. Kushina, do I know you, she responded. Yes, I'm Haku, the young kunoichi responded. I see, Kushina returned to fixing the buildings. Why are you visiting me, she asked. You claimed that Zabuza-sama would kill me if he found someone stronger, what makes you so sure he would do that, Haku asked. First off, don't call him that around me, and I know he will because since he had you he killed his previous followers, Kushina said. They died in battle, Haku said. Only after he poisoned them first, Kushina said. How do you know this, Haku asked. Do you know his goal in life, Kushina asked. Haku asked, confused. The reason he ran from Kiri, did he tell you, Kushina asked. Well, he told me that the country was unstable and too dangerous to live in, Haku said. Kushina laughed. Unstable, I can tell you now the country is not as unstable as you think. The reason he fled Kiri was because he tried to kill the Mizukage and take the position himself. He saw you on his way out and thought you would be a good asset to his plans to become the Mizukage, she told her. How do you know this, Haku asked. Kushina pulled out a book. Do you know what this is, she asked. The book, Haku said. It's a bingo book, it has the rank, threat level, and reasoning for every registered nin. Look through it until you find Zabuza, then tell me if he is still worth trying to defend, Kushina said, handing her the book. Haku read through the book. You're in this book also, she said. I know, I'm an S-rank kunoichi, Kushina said proudly. Zabuza is also an S-rank shinobi, Haku said. Yay, continue to read his page, Kushina said. Haku read his page. You're right, he did lie to me about everything, she said. Some people will lie to get things to go their way, Kushina said. I have to go, Haku said. Haku, before you go, remember you can always come to me for anything and stop hiding yourself from the world, you're a beautiful girl, let it show, Kushina said. Thanks, I'll remember that, Haku said and ran off. In Gato's hideout, Haku walked into the hideout and went into the room that she and Zabuza had. She sat in the chair next to his bed thinking about what she learned. The door opened and she vanished from sight, using a spying jutsu that all hunter nins are taught. Someone who she didn't recognize walked in and sat in the chair she was previously sitting in. You're still asleep, they said. Zabuza looked over at him. That girl hit my pressure point too hard this time, he said. So why do you keep her around, the nin asked. Because she is the only medic I know, Zabuza said. You're going to end up dead if you keep her around, she is too nice, you need to get rid of her, the nin said. I will, just not now, I need her until I'm completely healed, Zabuza said. Haku stopped using her jutsu and stood behind the nin facing away from them. Were you spying on us, the nin asked. No, Haku said. How long until I can walk, Zabuza asked. Why don't you ask someone else, I'm leaving, Haku said. What are you talking about, Zabuza asked. What, you didn't think I knew I was only here until you thought I was no longer of any use to you, Haku asked. The ninja looked at Zabuza, who shrugged. I guess I have no choice but to end your life now then, he said. The air around Haku got colder as she grabbed a senbon out the air and blocked the kunai from the nin. So you send others to do your dirty work, Zabuza, she asked. I'm more than enough for you, the nin said. The bad for you, I have more important things to attend to than fight you, Haku said, then kicked him away from her and vanished via Shunshin no Jutsu. Haku appeared outside the building and went through a few hand signs. Shortly she was dressed as a civilian. She walked around the village and unwillingly ran into a ninja from Konoha. "Excuse me, but something about you seem familiar," one of them said. "We have never met before," Haku said with a smile. "You're a ninja, right?" he asked. "What makes you think that?" Haku asked. "Because no civilian carries themselves the way you are, it takes years of training to make every move precise," the nin said. "I guess I'm caught. I have a few years of ninja training, but I haven't used it in so long that I'm of no use to anyone," Haku lied. "Come with me, I'm sure I can get my sensei to let me help you out a little," he said. "Why not? What's your name?" Haku asked. "Sasuke, yours," he answered. "Haku," she replied. "You're very pretty," he said. "Thanks," Haku said while rolling her eyes. They arrived at the Suna house. "Is Kakashi-sensei around?" Sasuke asked. "I'm in here," Kakashi called from the living room. Sasuke led Haku into the living room. "Who is that?" his female teammate asked. "Calm down, Sakura, she is someone I met while walking around the country, she has a little ninja training, and I was wondering if it would be fine if I taught her a little," Sasuke said. Kakashi looked at her for a minute. "No," he finally said. "Why, she could help us with our mission," Sasuke asked. Kakashi looked at Haku. "Sasuke, what have I told you about paying attention to the small details?" he asked. "What does that have to do with anything?" Sasuke asked. "You actually believe she has a little ninja training? Just look at the way she is standing, she is ready to attack or defend herself in a sudden moment. You don't learn that with a little training," Kakashi said. Sasuke looked at her. "Is that true?" he asked. "The Kunoichi's biggest advantage is deception," she said. "You lost that advantage the moment you showed yourself to me," Kakashi said. "Maybe, but I'm still fast enough to get away from you and to safety," Haku said. "Let's see how fast you are," Kakashi said and removed his hit eye 8 from his eye. Haku vanished and Kakashi quickly followed. "That won't work for me, where is Zabuza, and I might let you live," he asked. Haku threw a few senbons at him. "Go find him yourself," she said, then jumped away. Kakashi quickly followed and caught up with the Kunoichi. "I gave you the chance to live, now you're going to die," he said. "Still picking on those who can't protect themselves, are you?" they heard. They both looked towards where the voice came from and saw Kushina sitting in a tree looking away from them. After a while she turned towards them. "What have you gotten yourself into this time, Haku?" she asked while dropping off the tree. "I had it under control," Haku said while looking away from her. "It's not bad idea to admit you need help sometimes," Kushina said as she walked up to them. "Now are you going to leave or will I have to make you pervert?" she asked looking at Kakashi. "I guess you will have to make me," he said. "Your death," Kushina said as she grabbed her katana off her back. Before they could do anything the temperature rose dramatically and Kasumi appeared next to Kushina along with her bloodline ninjas. "Kushina, nice to see you again," she said. "Kasumi, what brings you here?" Kushina asked surprised. "I heard about a redhead and her redhead son here, I had to know if it was you since it's been a while since we last talked," Kasumi said. Haku used her bloodline to lower the temperature around her getting Kasumi's attention. "You're Yukiko?" she asked. "Yes," Haku said. "I thought you all died," Kasumi said. "I could say the same about the Natsuko clan," Haku said. "Point taken, looks like we are the last of our respective clans," Kasumi said. Kushina looked around. "Since he ran, let's go find my genin," she said. "Your genins?" Kasumi asked. "Yay, my son, Tenten and Hinata," Kushina said. "What's that?" one of the ninjas with Kasumi asked pointing to something in the sky. Kushina looked at it. "Why does that look familiar?" she asked herself. She thought about it and then it hit her like a fallen mountain. "Tenten," she screamed and took off as fast as she could towards the spot with the rest following behind her. With Tenten and Hinata. Tenten jumped in the air after her scroll and threw it open and weapons started to rain down on the ninjas below without any hesitation. Hinata with her Byakugan active was able to run between the falling weapons and strike their opponents without any resistance from them. The leader watched them as they did this and started to lose his patience. "It's only 2 of them," he yelled. "Sorry, Orochimaru-sama, but they are stronger than they look," one of the nins said. Orochimaru threw a kunai into his head, killing him. "Kimimaro, Taiya, Kidomaru, Yukin, and Jirabu, go get them and do not kill them," he said. The 5 ran into the fight easily dodging the weapons. Taiya kicked Hinata in her stomach, sending her flying. Tenten dove out the air and caught her before she hit the ground. The 5 started to run at them but was thrown back by a rush of sand. Naruto jumped in front of his 2 best friends prepared to defend them with his life. Landing not far behind him was Kushina. She walked up to them and looked at the state Tenten and Hinata was in and walked up to Naruto. "Heal them, I'll take care of this," she ordered. Naruto backed up and went to heal Tenten and Hinata. Kushina started to walk towards the 5, then vanished and sent Orochimaru flying into the distance and jumped after him. "Surround these 3 and don't let anyone get to them until Kushina returns," Kasumi ordered. Haku attacked the 5 nins and was followed by Kasumi. "Let's see how good you are, Yukiko," Kasumi said in a challenge. "You're on Natsuko," Haku said taking her up on her challenge. Tenten and Hinata stood up after Naruto healed them. "Where is Kushina-sensei?" Tenten asked. "She chased after Orochimaru," Naruto said. "We should follow her," Hinata said. The three then went through some hand signs, secret jutsu. Jinjutsu of invisibility they called out and slowly vanished from the sight of everyone around. They then ran off in the direction that Kushina and Orochimaru was fighting. The two Hokage level ninjas was exchanging strikes with their katanas at a high speed. The three genin stayed back waiting for a chance to tip the fight in Kushina's favor. The two split apart and as soon as they landed the three attacked Orochimaru from behind, Naruto with his katana, Hinata with her whip, and Tenten with her rod. Hinata's whip caught Orochimaru by surprise first as it wrapped itself around his arm that held his katana, Tenten, and Naruto was close behind on their attacks as they came from overhead prepared to cut him in half. Orochimaru, although surprised by the attack, didn't panic and just overpowered Hinata and blocked the two weapons with his katana. "Nice try, but you're not in a sandbox anymore," he said. "And they are not the ones you should be worried about," Kushina said from behind him and attacked swinging her katana at his neck. Orochimaru ducked and his arm wore cut off. "You will pay for interfering," he said, then grabbed his katana off the ground and melted into the ground. Kushina grabbed his arm and sealed it into a scroll. She then turned to her genins. "What the hell was you three thinking?" she asked, clearly pissed off. "We thought we could help," Hinata said. "We trained under you, Mom, you and Kurenai, and we just wanted to prove ourselves," Tenten said. "Are you mad at us?" Naruto asked. "No, I'm not mad, just scared. You could have been killed. Orochimaru is a senin and trained with Tsunade and Jiraiya. He is not to be taken lightly. If he wasn't taken off guard by your sneak attack, you all would have been killed before I could get to him," Kushina said. "So you're not mad?" Hinata asked. "No, I'm not mad, just don't do that again," Kushina said. "We won't, we promise," Naruto said. "Good, now you finally got the Jinjutsu Kurenai was teaching you to work?" Kushina asked. "Yup, we can only do it together though," Tenten said. Kushina nodded. "Let's get back to the others," she said, and led them back to the other fight. When they arrived they saw Haku and Kasumi tying up the last two of the Sound 5. "What took you so long?" Kasumi asked. "I had some unexpected guests," Kushina said, pointing to her genins. "Well, did you defeat Orochimaru?" Haku asked. "No, but I did cut off his arm thanks to these three," Kushina said. "Since these technically are your prisoners, what should we do with them?" Kasumi asked. "Send them back to Suna. Anko hasn't had someone interrogate in a while," Kushina said. "You heard her, get them back to Suna and don't leave until I come get you," Kasumi ordered her shinobi group. "Hi," the 10 replied and grabbed the 5 sound nins. "Mom," Naruto said. "What?" Kushina asked looking at her son. "I think I'm going to need a new weapon," he said. "Why is that?" Kushina asked tilting her head to the side. "My katana cracked," Naruto said sheepishly. Kushina sighed. "You're unbelievable," she mumbled. "You idiot, do you know how long it took me to fix the Tenten?" yelled at her younger brother. "I didn't do it on purpose," Naruto said as he backed from the pissed off Kunoichi. "I poured my blood and sweat in it and you break it after one mission," Tenten yelled as she slowly approached him. "It's not my fault that it couldn't stand up to the pressure of Orochimaru's weapon," Naruto yelled back. "Are you saying I'm not a good enough weaponsmith?" Tenten asked with a glare. Naruto swallowed. "I didn't mean it like that," he said. "Enough, you two," Kushina interjected, seeing that this was quickly getting out of hand. "Tenten, it's not your weapon making skills that failed, but the material used," she added. Tenten sent one last glare at Naruto before taking the katana and sheath from him. "Fine," she said as she started to inspect his crack. "Maybe we should find somewhere to stay the night," Kasumi suggested. At Tsunade house, Kakashi sat on the couch not saying anything. Sasuke walked into the room followed by Sakura. "What's wrong, sensei?" he asked. "Where is Kiba? We wasted too much time sitting around. Time for some training," Kakashi said. Sasuke shrugged. "Probably in the back," he said. "Go get him," Kakashi said. After Kiba was in the house he led them out the front door. "Time for some real ninja training," he said. "I thought we was getting real training already," Sakura said. "That was just to get you ready for my real training. I won't take it easy. Kiba and Sasuke might be able to handle it, but you, Sakura, will be at a disadvantage and I will focus mainly on you," Kakashi said. "Alright, we get to learn some new jutsus," Kiba said. "Not yet, Kiba, you and Sasuke go on that lake and spar, don't hold anything back," Kakashi ordered. Once they was on the water and sparring, he turned his attention to Sakura. "I have a lot of work to get you up to Kunoichi standard. Start climbing this tree, only use your chakra and don't let your hands touch the tree," he told her. A week later, during the week Kakashi spent most of the time drilling Sakura on all types of chakra and taijutsu exercises. It was clear that she had the best control out of all the genins except Ino and Neji, but she also had the lowest amount of chakra. During the week her chakra doubled in size and she made notable strides in taijutsu. Kakashi walked to their normal training area. "Sakura, are you ready for today?" he asked. "Yes, sensei," she answered. Kakashi nodded. "Today I'm going to introduce you to basic medics. With your control and how smart you are, you should learn the basics pretty fast. Depending on how well you do now, I will ask for a medic to teach you when we get back to Konoha," he said. "Yes, sensei, I will train hard, I won't slow the others down," Sakura said. Kakashi nodded and handed her the scroll. "If you need any help I'll be watching over Kiba and Sasuke," he said. And Tsunade walked into the living room and sat across from Anko and Kurenai, and next to Yugao, you won't believe what I found, she said. What's that, Anko asked. Well, when I was in Konoha I did a blood test on all the genin kunoichis in the village, she was interrupted. Why would you do that, Kurenai asked. I'm a medic, I'm always finding things to research that have to do with my field. Now, like I was saying, it just so happens that there are two kunoichis, that when I paired their blood with Naruto's blood, the results are a 90 and 80% chance that they will create a new bloodline, Tsunade said. Really? That means that with one of them a new bloodline will be created, and with the other, the chances are too high to pass up, Kurenai said. Exactly, after I found this out I stopped the other testing and focused on these two. One, Ino Yamanaka, has a 80% chance of creating a bloodline that allows her not only to use her normal bloodline, but also gives her kids the ability to take any information that the subject has and learn it in an instant, Tsunade said. The three just looked at her. It means that the Yamanaka bloodline will be like the Sharingan. The only difference will be that if Ino and Naruto had a kid, they will not only have both their parents' bloodlines, but they will also be able to learn any jutsu that's not a bloodline jutsu just by going in the head of their opponent for a split second, Tsunade explained. Any side effects, Kurenai asked. Besides the normal disadvantage that the Yamanaka bloodline have, I'm not sure, Tsunade said. And the second person, Yugao asked. Sakura Haruno has a 90 of creating a new bloodline, Tsunade said. Haruno, I wasn't aware of a bloodline within that family, Kurenai said. They don't, in fact Sakura is the only ninja ever reported in the family, Tsunade said. How is it possible that she will create a new bloodline, Anko asked, confused. Well, although no Haruno have ever been a registered ninja doesn't mean they haven't had people attempt to become a ninja. Everyone who attempted had godlike chakra control, but the downside was they had so little amount of chakra that they never could do more than one jutsu an hour, Tsunade said. What's so special about this Sakura girl, Anko asked. Well, nothing except her chakra control is unusually high even for a Haruno, and her chakra supply isn't higher than other Harunos, giving her the chance to actually become a genin. I'm not sure how a kid with a 2 would turn out, but it will have Naruto's godlike chakra and Sakura's godlike control, which that in itself is like having a bloodline, Tsunade said. I for one think it's worth a try to get a marriage contract between them, Yuga said. I think we need to discuss this with Kushina first. She isn't too fond of the idea that Naruto has to go back there for the Chunin exams. I don't think she will take this news lightly either, Kurenai said. I agree, Anko said. In wave, Kushina was sitting with her genins along with Haku and Kasumi eating dinner when the room got dark. Welcome, they heard. Mom, what's going on, Naruto asked. I'm not sure, Kushina said. I have been here before, the day when I moved sand for the first time, Naruto said, realizing where he was. Yes, the first time I was able to see into your past, the voice said. Who is there, Kushina asked. Well, tell your son to make some lights, this is his mindscape, the voice said. Naruto, Kushina said. Naruto closed his eyes and thought of something different and it appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Cool, Tenten said. Welcome, I'm Kyuubi, the fox said. How are we here, Kushina asked. I see no one is scared, Kyuubi said with amusement. We already know about you, Hinata said. Well, do you know I can send you back in time, Kyuubi asked. We didn't know that, Hinata said. I know you didn't, but I'm going to do it anyway, Kyuubi said. Why, Kushina asked. 2 reasons. First, Naruto needs to learn to use the Hiraishin no Jutsu, and second, to find out who killed my family, Kyuubi said. So all of us are going back, Kushina asked. Yes, but you can't interact with anyone from the past, and you will only be in the past long enough to learn who killed my family. Once you find the jutsu will end, so use your time wisely. If you don't learn the Hiraishin no Jutsu before then you will have to figure it out yourself, Kyuubi said. So as long as we don't find out who killed your family we will stay in the past, Kushina asked. No matter what happened the jutsu will end the moment I reach the village of Konoha, Kyuubi said. Okay, how far back will it be until that happened, Kushina asked. 1 day, Kyuubi answered. Do you expect him to learn the Hiraishin in 1 day, Kushina asked. Kushina shook her head as the bright light died down and looked around. Well, let's get to work. You 3 find Minato and follow him. He should hide the scroll for the Hiraishin before he seals Kyuubi. I'm going to find Kyuubi and find out who killed her family, she ordered them. The 3 took off towards the Hokage's tower, while Kushina vanished in a burst of speed. Naruto, Tenten, and Hinata quickly found their target and shadowed him, taking note of everything that he hit and sealed up. They jumped out the window of the cage's tower, proceeded to follow the current Hokage. He entered the forest and made sure No had followed him, summoning no jutsu, he said, and summoned a medium-sized toad. Minato, why did you summon me in such a dark and tight space, the toad asked. Sorry, but I need you to take the scroll, it's for the Hiraishin, no place here is safe for it, can you keep it with the toads, until my son Naruto is old enough to summon toads, he asked. Sure, but why are you talking as if you won't be able to teach him the move yourself, Toad asked. Kyuubi is attacking, I'm going to try and stop it before it destroys the village, I might need the boss help, Minato said. I let him know, the toad said, then was gone. Kushina noticed that her students was closer to their target and sped up. She quickly ran through the gate and into the forest. She had no idea how she would find Kyuubi until there was a spike in demonic chakra. Running towards the chakra, she saw two ninjas running towards her with an angry Kyuubi behind them. They got closer. She recognized who the two was. Haku and Kasumi looked over at the four when the room turned bright white. "Did you find what you was looking for?" Kasumi asked when the light went away. "I know why Kyuubi attacked Konoha," Kushina said. "We know where the scroll for the Hiraishin is," Tenten said. "Where?" Kushina asked. "But the toads," Naruto told them. "Well, this is a problem. We either have to get Jiraiya to summon the right toad or have you sign the toad contract," Kushina said while thinking through the options. Sitting in her room was the youngest Hyuga, just turning 5. She turned and picked up her doll, something no one knew she had. She smiled as she remembered the day she got it. Flashback. "You're still here, didn't you die a few years ago?" Hiashi asked while not even looking up at her. "I hate you," she yelled as a reply while trying to stop herself from crying again. "Really, go do something with yourself. I don't have time to deal with you right now," Hiashi said as he continued to sign some papers. "At least you can act like you know it's my birthday," the girl replied. "Unless you want me to kill you where you stand, get out of my office now," Hiashi said, finally looking up from his work and glaring at her. She glared back and turned, walking out. "I hope you die painfully," she said, just loud enough for him to hear. "At least I won't have to deal with useless girls like you," Hiashi said as he went back to his work. She slammed the door as hard as she could, only making a really loud sound since she wasn't strong enough to actually break it. Walking to her room, she saw a hawk sitting outside her window. Quickly shutting her door, she ran over and opened the window, letting the bird in before it was seen. The hawk looked at her. "Hanabi, have you been crying?" it asked. The 5-year-old quickly wiped her face again. "Don't be silly, Fran, of course I wasn't crying, I'm a big girl, and big girls don't cry," she said. "What did he do this time?" the Fran asked. Hanabi sighed and told her what happened. "Well, I have something that will cheer you up," Fran said. Hanabi took the letter off the hawk's leg and doll off her back. "Wow, this is so pretty," she said, looking at it. Looking at the letter, she realized it was simple and to the point. "Happy birthday, Hanabi," was all it said. Flashback ends. Looking at the hawk, she pulled out a scroll, pen and wrote 3 words on the paper, then tied it to the hawk. Kushina watched as her genins trained into jutsu. Haku decided to join them to make it even and was currently fighting Hinata. Kasumi walked up to them. "So what is your plans here? Would you stay or leave and prepare for the exams?" she asked. "We are going to stay here and help Wave get back on their feet. I'm not sure about the exams, they are in Konoha, and I don't want them going back there anytime soon." Kushina then looked at her. "What about you? Do you have any genins to put in the exams?" she asked. "Not unless Haku agrees to come back to Kiri with me. I only have 2 genin level kunoichis who is ready for the exams, everyone else is already chunin or higher or too young," Kasumi said. "I think I can convince her to go with you for a few weeks," Kushina said. As they continued to watch them train, Kushina noticed the hawk floating above Hinata. Giving a whistle and holding her arm out, the hawk flew to her. "Sorry, you will have to wait here with me until she is finished training, or give me the message for her," she said. "I think I will wait, there is some things she needs to know," the bird told Kushina. Moving her arm so the bird could rest on her shoulder, she nodded. "That's fine, they should be finished soon," she said. 15 minutes later, the 4 stopped training, all too tired to stand. "Hinata, you have a message," Kushina called out. "Before I give you the letter, I should tell you what she want. As you know, today is Hanabi's birthday, but no one has so much as acknowledged her. All she wants is to have someone to talk to, someone to play with, someone who she can trust to take care of her, but all she got is constant promises of death." The Ashi told her he would rather be dead than have to take care of someone as worthless as her Fran then moved, so Hinata could take the letter off her leg. Slowly taking the letter, Hinata read it out loud. "Come get me." 3 words, 3 simple words, but they hit them all like a ton of bricks. Looking down at the paper, everyone could see the tear droppings that covered it. 3 little words that made Hinata's blood boil. She wanted to go save her sister now, but one look at Kushina made her hold her tongue. "Is there anything else we should know?" Kushina asked. "Hanabi is terrified to cry," Fran said, then she was gone. Hinata balled her hands, taking some dirt with them as tears fell off her face. "Hanabi," she choked out. Tenten and Naruto didn't have a clue as to what to do, neither had ever had to deal with something this serious. They looked at Kushina, but the look in her face was also one they never seen before, and it scared them. Kushina looked at her genins. "I need to get you 3 ready for the Chunin exams, I'm doubling your training," she said. Hinata's head shot up, but she was but of. "Eren Konoha," Kushina said, turning to Haku. She studied the girl for a while. "I need you to go with Kasumi and be her genin for these exams," she finally said. Haku wanted to argue, but knew it was better to keep shut, so she just nodded in agreement. Kasumi stood. "Let's go, Haku," she said. "Just because I agreed with this doesn't mean you can tell me what to do. I'm going with Kushina after the exams," Haku stated. "Well, until then you're my genin, so you will do what I say," Kasumi retorted. "Haku, would you just do this? It's only for a month," Kushina said. "Fine, but I don't have to like it," Haku huffed. Now can we go Haku, we need to find this Gato guy and fix Wave Kasumi said. A week later Team Kakashi was at the bridge with Tanzuna. Everything was going fine until the bridge was covered by fog. Before anyone could say or do anything the fog was gone and a surprised Kakashi and Zabuza looked at the newcomer. Zabuza leave Wave, now the Kunoichi said in a commanding voice. Zabuza looked at her, you look familiar he said. If it's not a problem with you me and Zabuza have some things to finish here, Kakashi said. The Kunoichi tossed Gato's head in front of Zabuza, you have no reason to stay, now leave while you have a chance she said. You killed my money Zabuza said looking at Gato's head. I'm only going to tell you one more time, leave or I will kill you she said. Kakashi-sensei who is that Kunoichi a confused Sakura asked. I'm not sure, stay alert Kakashi said. Kasumi leave this to us, you did enough another Kunoichi said as she walked across the water with 4 genins behind her. Kasumi, as in Kasumi Natsuko of the Natsuko clan Zabuza asked in surprise, I thought all you were killed off he added. They were, I'm the last one Kasumi said. Jumping onto the bridge and landing next to Kasumi was Kushina, Naruto, Hinata, Tenten, and Haku. I was wondering where you went Zabuza said. Don't speak to me as if you missed me Haku said with a glare. You should be careful who you look at like that, you might get into trouble Zabuza said while grabbing his cleaver. Holy shit, I want one of those Naruto said. Mita Tenten said as she drooled looking at the weapon, I have heard of those, but never actually seen one she added. Not now Kushina said. Do you have a problem with us Sasuke asked the smallest ninja on the bridge. In fact I do Hinata replied with as much hate as she could produce. What did we do to you Sakura asked confused. Hinata just continued to glare fighting not to activate her by Akigen, that was a secret until the exams. Sasuke matched her glare with one of his own. Naruto looked over at them, Akamaru he said. The Inu looked from Kiba's hood and saw Naruto, jumping out it shocked the Konoha's ninjas by running up to Naruto and licking him. How have you been Naruto laughed as he petted the Inu. Akamaru what are you doing Kiba said, and why do you smell like kitsune he added. You better go back Naruto said. Haku get over here and I will forgive you for running away Zabuza said. I didn't run away I just opened my eyes and finally saw clearly who you are Haku replied. I see Zabuza said he then picked up his cleaver and held it towards Haku, your funeral he said. Zabuza Kushina said in a commanding voice making everyone look at her, I'm your opponent not Haku she said pulling off her own katana. Zabuza looked at her, Kushina Uzumaki also known as the Red Sand, what problems do you have with me he asked. Oh just protecting my youngest sister Kushina said shrugging as she stepped in front of Haku. I guess I'm going to have to go through you first Zabuza said. Zabuza-sama we will take care of the others one of the ninjas with him said. Tenten pulled a katana off her back, Scorpion try not to break it this time she said, tossing it to Naruto. Not making any promises cat Naruto said. You better not break it, Tenten growled out effectively scaring Naruto. Had and Scorpion not now Hinata whispered to her older siblings. We are still here Sasuke growled out. We can smell you Hinata said without looking at him. You will pay for that comment Sasuke growled. The hummingbird Hinata said completely ignoring him as the bird floated in front of her. Hinata reached out to touch the small yellow bird when everything slowed down as a shuriken came spinning at the bird and sliced through it in a clean easy cut. Don't ignore me Sasuke growled. Hinata caught the bird in her hands. Why, what did this bird do to you she glared at Sasuke. What did this hummingbird do to you damn Uchiha she yelled at the top of her lungs. Tenten and Naruto looked at the dead bird and looked at each other. Oh shit they both said and slowly backed away from their younger sister. They quickly learned, mainly from Kankuro, that you never harm a bird around Hinata or you would likely end up in the hospital for weeks and that was if she liked you, if not well, the Uchiha would find out soon enough. Everyone looked at Hinata at the sudden burst of chakra that came from her, what the hell Zabuza said. Which one of you hurt a bird Kushina asked. It's not hurt, it's dead Hinata said as she sat it down on the ground. Well pervert looks like you're going home with one less genin Kushina said, then went back to attacking Zabuza without another thought. The others watched Hinata as she grabbed the rose sitting in her hair, then she was gone, no trace of chakra, no dust flying off the ground, no breeze as she moved, nothing it was as if she vanished of the face of the earth. Then blood was seen coming from Sasuke as Hinata's whip came across his chest. Hinata brought her whip at him again, this time aiming for his neck, but was stopped by Kakashi as he grabbed her whip, wrong move she said, as thorns 6 inches long extended out and into his hand. Hat can you take both the oink-haired girl and Akamaru's partner Naruto asked. Yay, go help Haku Tenten said. Asumi appeared between Hinata and Kakashi, looks like I'm going to have to fight she then sighed. Things would have been so much easier if you would have let us deal with Zabuza, then went about our business she said as she got into her stance. Kakashi looked at Hish and damn I can't mold chakra right with my hand like this he then looked at Hinata. What is in that whip has to be some type of poison he thought. Sasuke be careful, her whip has some type of poison in it he warned. Hinata zoomed past the 2 Jounins and attacked with reckless abandon as Sasuke had his Sharingan active and 2 kunais in his hands blocking the whip. With the control she had, it enlarging and shrinking the whip at her while getting close to her was impossible, as Sasuke was finding out. Hinata spent around with her whip and quickly turned it back into a rose, surprising Sasuke as she punched him hard in the nose, sending him back. Rose whip, she called out and wrapped it around Sasuke's leg and swung him across the bridge, making Kushina jump back from Zabuza as the genin hit the ground between the two. A shadow appeared above them, thorns of death, Hinata called out as she twirled her whip around her, shooting off hundreds of thorns. Before they could reach him, a pink blur appeared and started to block the thorns with 2 kunais. Once the thorn stopped, Sakura stood then with her 2 kunais and about 50 thorns in her body. "I don't need protection from a weakling like you," Sasuke said as he got up and roughly pushed Sakura off to the side. Hinata dropped to one knee as her chakra was almost gone. She hated that no matter how hard she trained, she always had less chakra than Naruto, Tenten, Gaara, and Temari. She knew she would never have as much as Naruto and Gaara, but it still pissed her off that her chakra was so low. Yes, she had more chakra than Kankuro, but that was because she was lazy as hell and barely took training seriously. Sasuke slowly approached her, then fell face first suddenly. "About time it kicked in," Hinata whispered. "What did you do to me?" Sasuke demanded. "The poison that paralyzes your body flows through my whip," Hinata said. "Shit, Kiba, get Sakura," Kakashi ordered as he separated from Kasumi and grabbed Sasuke before he too was paralyzed. "Let's go," Zabuza said and jumped away with all the confusion along with his 2 ninjas. The rest of ninjas sat on the bridge out of breath and chakra. "That was intense," Tenten said. "I don't think it's over," Kasumi said as she spotted hundreds of people running up to them with swords drawn. Soon they were surrounded. "You killed our meal ticket, now pay with your lives," one of them yelled. "Anyone have enough chakra to handle them?" Kushina asked. "I can barely move," Naruto said. "I think that pink-haired girl poisoned me," Tenten said, trying to get up. Haku, Kasumi and Kushina said at the same time. "I think she passed out," Hinata said, poking the girl. The 2 Jounin sighed. "Think we can talk them out of killing us?" Kasumi asked. Kushina looked at them. "They look pissed. I don't think talking will get us out of this," she said. Soon the samurais ran at them ready to kill. "Well, at least we was able to free this country from Geto," Kushina said. The closest samurai was about to bring his sword down on Kushina, poised to kill as she looked him in the eye, not showing any fear, but glaring at him with hate. Just as the sword was about to touch him, his entire body was covered with sand coffin, sand burial, they heard. Then there was a spray of blood all over Kushina. Gaara, Temari, Kankuro, and Baki appeared between their friends and the samurais. "This is your only chance to leave, or we will kill you all," Baki said. One samurai ran straight at Gaara, "Sand coffin," he said, and killed him before he took 5 steps. The rest of the samurais ran before they too was killed. "Never thought I would see the day when Kushina-sensei was beat," Temari said. "Nice to see you to Temari," Kushina said. "The hummingbird is the smallest bird, and it flaps its wings the fastest out of all the birds," Hinata said. "Hinata, will you just bury the bird?" Tenten asked. Hinata shot her a glare. "I didn't say anything when you mourned about that cat that was killed, did I?" she snapped. "Fine, just hurry up, I would like to get back to the hotel," Tenten said. "I'm hungry," Naruto said. Gaara looked at Naruto. "Why didn't you use Kyuubi? You could have took care of them easily," he asked. "Konoha was here," Naruto said. "Oh, was all," Gaara said as he knew about them trying to spy on Naruto. "You all look like hell, and who is the new chicks?" Kankuro asked. "They're pathetic," Temari said, smacking him with her fan. "Baki, you're putting them in the exams, we need to go get Hanabi," Kushina said, her serious mode. Baki looked at Hinata, then back at Kushina. "They are next month, right?" he asked, immediately understanding why she told him. "Yes," was all Kushina said. "Good, they need a few search and rescue missions to get ready," Baki said. Kushina then turned to Kankuro, who immediately took notice and gulped, wondering what he did wrong this time. "Kankuro, we are from this moment on preparing for a search and rescue mission. If you mess up or don't take this serious, you can kiss your ninja career goodbye," fixing a cold glare at him to make sure he knew she wasn't playing. "Do I make myself clear?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am," he stuttered out. "Good, now let's get to our hotel room so we can discuss what our main target is for this mission," Kushina said. Tsunade walked out her mini-lab in the Uzumaki compound and sat in the yard with Anko, Kurenai, and Yugao. "The biggest advantage of having a kid with Naruto would be if Hinata had a kid with him," she said. "Why?" Kurenai asked. "Because with his ability to control sand and Hinata's Byakugan, their kid will be able to use sand in ways Naruto can only dream of," Tsunade said. "Meaning that they will be able to use the sand to hit chakra points?" Yugao asked. "Exactly," Tsunade said. "What about Temari and Tenten?" Anko asked. "I'm not entirely sure, I'm still running tests, but one thing is for sure, any kids with Tenten will have an unlimited supply of weapons to throw," Tsunade said. Hanabi laid in her prison, room as there was a knock on her door. "Your dinner is served," the person said, then walked away. Hanabi walked to the door and looked at the tray and promptly shut the door. Walking to the window, she opened it and a hawk immediately flew in. "What's wrong?" Ran asked. "I'm hungry," Hanabi said. "I'll bring you back some food," Fran said and flew off. Everyone finally made it back to the hotel room, and Haku was up on alert and far away from Kankuro. Kushina cleared her throat. Our objective for the next month is to prepare to fight all of Konoha if we have to. Of course we will have Suna behind us, but that is not enough. We need to double even triple our training to be prepared, she said. Kushina-sensei, who exactly is our target? Kankuro asked. My sister Hinata said, getting their attention. Hanabi Hyuga, she said. My sister Hinata said, getting their attention. Hanabi Hyuga, she said. Dimbaki looked at her in surprise. I didn't know you had a sister, Kankuro said, showing his surprise. No one in Suna did except those who needed to know, Kushina informed them. So how will we go about getting her out of Konoha? Tamari asked. We will have Hinata sneak into the Hyuga compound and collect information as soon as we get there. From the information she gather, either me or Anko will go in at night before we leave and kidnap her, Kushina said. Why can't I just get her when I go in? Hinata asked. Because, you also have to do the Chunin exam. We won't waste a perfectly good chance for you all to become Chunins and get revenge on them by beating all their genins, Kushina said. At least let me go see her when I get in, Hinata asked. What you do once you're inside the compound is up to you, just don't blow your cover, Kushina told her. I won't, Hinata said. Good. Now as for training, I'm going to focus on increasing Hinata's chakra while Naruto continue to master our bloodline. Tenten, I want you to put your weapon making ability to good use in the month we have, Kushina said. Tenten couldn't help but smile brightly. She never actually had permission to openly create weapons. I'm going to need some better material then, she said. Don't worry, Anko, Kurenai and Yugao had some metals shipped in from all around the shinobi world. It should be there when we get back, Kushina said. Hanabi sat in the conference room while a meeting was going on about her future. Not far from her was the visitors from Iwa. The boy was a year older than her, and with him was his mother. The entire meeting was about a peace treaty, and they planned using her as a means of showing they wanted peace between the two countries. After that she lost interest and started to wonder how long it would be until she was taken from this hell of a life she lived. After much work, Kushina finally was able to find out the location of the meetings between the Kazekage and Orochimaru. After it was found out they was meeting, the meeting place was changed, and it took almost 5 years to find it. Waking closer, she listened in on their conversation. I plan to attack Konoha during these exams. I require your help, the Kazekage said. I will agree to help you, but I require payment for my services, Orochimaru said after a few minutes. After we destroy Konoha we will split their money, that should be enough payment, the Kazekage said. Kushina quickly left, not needing to hear any more. Kushina appeared in the council's meeting room. How did your investigation go? I hope you're making progress. Your time is almost up, an elder said. Kushina couldn't help the smile that spread across her face. In fact, I have all the information I need, and we won't need to kill the Kazekage, just appoint a new leader, she said. Oh, and what news did you hear? The elder asked. I found out that the Kazekage plan to attack Konoha at the Chunin exam, she told them. I may not like them, but Konoha is too large for us to take on at the moment, Chio said. I understand that, but the Kazekage has requested the help of Orochimaru, Kushina said. This will destroy us, an elder said. I have a plan. We should continue as if we agree with the attack, but secretly appoint a new Kazekage, and when the attack start the new Kazekage will take over and pull us out of Konoha, so we won't have any part of this, and get rid of both the current Kazekage and Orochimaru, Kushina suggested. This has nothing to do with you wanting to kidnap the Hyuga, an elder asked. Her name is Hanabi and I would be lying if I said I won't use this distraction to my advantage, Kushina said. She never liked that particular elder. We will discuss this over and inform you of our decision and the new Kazekage, Chio said. Kushina stood in front of her team as they got ready to leave. Everyone got everything they need, she asked. Yes, they three genins answered together. Anko, Kurenai, and Yugao, Kushina asked. I'm ready as ever, Anko said. Kurenai and Yugao just nodded. Kushina and Messenger called out. Yes, Kushina answered. The council agreed with your plan. The new Kazekage will be you, he said, then vanished. Jumping through the trees towards the meeting spot, the group of Konoha ninjas stopped when they realized that the ninjas they was escorting wasn't there. Now what? The blonde asked. Just be patient, we are early, her sensei said. Just then a group of ninjas landed in front of them. One appeared in front of the blonde. Hello miss, I'm Scorpion, may I have your name, he asked, grabbing her hand and kissing it. The Kunoichi blushed at the unexpected interaction. I'm Ino, nice to meet you, she said, blushing. Unhand her, someone said from the branch above them. Looking up at the shinobi, oh sorry, I didn't realize she had a boyfriend, he said. She is not my girlfriend, the shinobi said. Well, if she isn't your girlfriend then who are you to tell me I can't talk to her, Scorpion asked. She is way out of your league, the shinobi said. Scorpion tilted his head to the side with a very confused look on his face while trying to figure out what that means. Raptor, he asked. It means you have no chance at getting her to notice you, she told him. Well, I'm sure Ino-chan is old enough to determine who she would want to date and who she wouldn't, Scorpion said. I won't tell you again, unhand her, the shinobi said. You know I don't like the tone you're taking with me, Scorpion said, all the while still smiling. Scorpion here, Cat said, tossing him a small weapon. It needs to be tested, she whispered. The fan, Scorpion said in confusion, opening the weapon. Do not ignore me or you all will pay, the shinobi said. Kissing Ino's hand again. I'll be back, he said. Vanishing, he shocked the shinobi by appearing right in his face, then quickly jumped back down in shock. Shit, he said, pointing to him, unable to form a complete sentence. What, realized you can't match me, the shinobi asked in an arrogant way. Scorpion, what's wrong, Raptor asked. Yay, it takes a lot to get this kind of reaction out of you, Cat said. Scorpion looked at Raptor, then back at the shinobi. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a Hyuga, right, he asked after calming down. That's correct, the shinobi said. I'm the strongest Hyuga in the village besides the elders, he added. I see, then you wouldn't mind a little test, Scorpion said. Test, the Hyuga repeated. Sandstorm, Scorpion said, swinging the fan at the Hyuga. Whoa, it's a lot easier with this than with hand signs, he commented. Scorpion, stop, Kushina said. Okay, sensei, Scorpion said, completely forgetting about the Hyuga. We should get going. Neji, where is your team, the Konoha Jounin finally said. They are close, Neji said, then jumped off. Man, I think that Hyuga hit me when I first jumped up to his face, Scorpion said. You will be fine, it's nothing that won't go away in a few minutes, Raptor said. So Ino-chan, how about I treat you to lunch once we get back to your village? I'll pay, Scorpion asked. Ino turned and smiled at him. I'll have to think about it, she said, then jumped off. I think I'm in love, Scorpion said. It's just a crush, Kushina said while watching Ino. Both Hinata and Tenten watched Ino, but for different reasons. She was going to have to prove herself before she was able to date their brother. They arrived at the village and saw Neji waiting for them. Ino, let's go, he said. You know, for someone from a clan like the Hyugas you're rude, Scorpion said. Neji hit him with the Hyuga glare. You will know your place in my village, and you will stay away from Ino if you know what's good for you, he said. Naruto matched his glare. My place is wherever the hell I want it to be, and until Ino-chan tells me different, nothing you say will chase me away, he said. Don't test your luck, let's go, Ino, now, Neji said. Ino glared at him. No, she said. What, Neji asked. I said no, you don't own me, besides Scorpion-kun asked me out to lunch, and I just got hungry, Ino said, and walked over to Scorpion. Neji took a step towards her, but was stopped by Scorpion stepping forward. Do you really want to challenge me, he asked while the earth beneath him started to break up into sand and raise into the air. Neji looked at his options and knew the redhead would be hard to handle by himself, but his two teammates loomed as if they would attack at a moment's notice, and was proved right as the smallest one vanished and stuck a forced palm into his stomach, knocking the air out of him. Do not piss us off, or you will pay it dearly, she said. She was about to strike again but was stopped by her team. Raptor, get yourself under control, Cat said. Well, don't cause too much trouble, we are going to get a hotel. Raptor, don't forget what I told you, Kushina said as the four Jounins walked away. Ino walked them to a restaurant. This is my favorite restaurant in the entire village, she said. Well, let's go, and I'm hungry, Scorpion said. You're always hungry, Cat commented. So Ino-chan, what's with the Hyuga, Scorpion asked. We are supposed to be dating, she said as if she hated the thought of it. Really, from the sound of it, you hate him, Scorpion said as Cat and Raptor just sat back and listened. I do, she said. If you don't mind, would you tell me why besides the obvious, Scorpion asked. Well, it all started around the time I was 5. At the time I was considered one of the 2 princesses of Konoha, along with Hinata Hyuga, the heir to the Hyuga clan. Well, once she was found dead, I became the princess of Konoha, and Neji became the heir to the Hyuga clan. Since then the village has put it in our heads that we are to be together if the village is to succeed. The village literally forced him on me without asking my opinion or the opinion of my father, she told him. Hinata's head perked up at hearing her name. I heard about that, didn't she have a sister, she asked. The Hanabi, sweet girl, but I fear for her life sometimes. She can be a bit overbearing, Ino said. Overbearing is an understatement, Raptor mumbled. Tell me more about the Hyugas, Scorpion asked. You're on a date with me, but you want to know about someone else, Ino asked in a teasing tone. Hey, I got to know who my competition is if I want to go on another date with you, Scorpion defended. Trust me, you have no competition from the Hyugas. In fact, the only competition you for my heart is my overprotective father, Ino told him. Hinata sat across from the Hyuga compound wondering how she would get in. She already stole a Hittite from a sleeping shinobi and got her hands on the standard Hyuga clothes, but she still had no way in, at least not until she saw a bunch of Hyugas running towards the compound and joined them. You all head straight to the council meeting, the leader of them yelled. Once actually in the main part of the compound, she quickly separated and walked the halls as if she was a servant. Hey you, someone called from the kitchen. Turning and gulping, she answered yes as quickly as she could. Take this to Hanabi's room and be quick about it, the cook said. She looked at the slop that was on the tray and sneered. Quickly calming herself, what room is she in? I'm new to the main house, she asked. At the top, can't miss it, it's the only room up there, he replied as he waved her away. Quickly making her way to the top, she knocked on the door. Hanabi, your lunch is ready, she called. You know the rules, sit it there and come back in 15 minutes to get it, she heard. Knocking again. Hanabi, it's me Hinata, open the door, she said. She heard some quick movements and the door flew open. I knew you would come, the younger sister said as she threw herself into her older sister's arms. Of course I was coming back for you, I just needed to wait until the right time, Hinata replied. Hanabi pulled her into her room then looked her over. You here for the Chunin exams, she asked. Yay, Anko, Kurenai, and Yuiga will be here to kidnap you before we leave, so make sure you have everything packed by then, Hinata said. Will I see you again before then, Hanabi asked. If you want, you still have Fran, right? She can come tell me anytime you want to see me, Hinata said. The Genins was standing in front of a gated forest waiting for the second exam to begin. Hey Tamari, can I borrow your fan, Scorpion asked. No, Tamari replied. Come on, I want to fly on it again, I won't break it, Scorpion said. You said that last time, Tamari replied. You're no fun, he said, then sped off in a different direction. As he was running he spotted Ino and ran up to her. Hello princess, I'm glad you made it this far in these exams, he said, bowing to her. Ino giggled while blushing from the attention he was attracting to her. Hi Scorpion, I'm glad you made it this far also, she replied. Here's to you making it past this party, then kissed her hand. Okay, which one of you gave Scorpion sugar again? Cat yelled at the other four Suna Genins. Wasn't me, Gaara said while stuffing his face with candy. Gaara, the Suna Genins yelled. What? Gaara asked innocently. It's not affecting me, I didn't know it would affect him so much, he said while shrugging his shoulders. Didn't I tell you to stay away from Ino, they heard. Neji, you said a lot of crap that I wasn't listening to, I was taken by Ino-chan's beauty to pay you any attention, Scorpion said. You keep trying your luck and I will make you regret it, he said. You really don't know who I am, do you? Scorpion asked him seriously. It don't matter, by the end of these exams you will be dead, he said. Well, let me refresh your memory, Scorpion said. Scorpion, what are you doing? Cat yelled. 8 years ago you came across me in the forest and took it upon yourself to beat me for no reason, Scorpion said, ignoring her. Neji just looked at him. What are you talking about, he asked. A week later you was with Hiashi and I was coming out the hospital when he told you to demonstrate how much you learned in your first month of training, Scorpion said. Neji thought about that. What does that have to do with you though? If I recall, that boy was he cut off. Naruto Uzumaki, Scorpion said for him. Please don't do this, Cat and Raptor mumbled. Everyone looked at him in confusion. What does that boy have to do with you? He is dead, Neji asked. Scorpion smirked. You would think that, he said, then held up a hand sign. Transform, he said. Then his hair changed color and he got his whisker marks back. Oh, don't look so surprised, Neji. I told you I would pay you back for what you did to me, he said. If you're alive then that means, Ino said, then stop looking at Raptor and Cat. You two are Tenten and Hinata, she asked. Great, you blue or cover, Raptor said in frustration as she transformed herself back to normal. Her eyes went from blue to their normal pale color and her hair changed from light blue to its normal indigo color. Well, at least we get to have some fun now, Cat said as her eyes changed from green to chocolate brown and her hair from blonde to its normal brown color. Everyone from Konoha stared at them as if they was looking at a ghost, everyone else just looked confused. Naruto smirked, Wats with a shocked look, surprised your famed Byakugan couldn't spot our transformation jutsu, he asked. You're supposed to be dead, Ino stuttered out looking at them. Yeah, about that, I didn't feel like dying at the time, Naruto said turning to Neji. Prepare for hell, he said, then walked back to his team. I need to inform Hiashi-sama about this, Neji said. Looks like we have some interesting opponent, someone commented. Sitting on a branch in the forest, the two teams from Suna already had the scrolls they need plus more. Hey, I'm going to find Ino-chan, Naruto said. Not now, Naruto, Tenten said. She looked freaked. I want to make sure she is not mad at me for not telling her sooner, Naruto said. Fine, let's make this quick, Tenten said. Byakugan, Hinata said. This way, she told them and took point leading them through the forest. Ino was sitting on a branch deep in thought. Ever since she found out Scorpion was Naruto, she'd been thinking if it was right to go on the date he asked her on since he did lie to her. Biting her nails, she didn't know what to do. Ino, can you come on before we are found? He isn't worth you getting depressed over, her teammate said lazily. Shut up, Shikamaru, I happen to really be confused here and I don't need you breathing down my neck, she snapped at him. Troublesome woman, he mumbled. Someone's coming, their last teammate said. Relax, we are not here to fight, Hinata said as she walked out into the opening. Then why are you here, Ino asked. Actually, to talk to you, Hinata replied. I'm listening, Ino replied from her spot. Yay, but I don't trust your teammates, so can you come with me, Hinata asked. And I'm not sure I trust you, Ino retorted. Fair enough, let me get the rest of my team, Hinata said and walked back into the forest. She won't come, we have to go to her, she told them. Walking back to the opening, the 6 ninjas walked out the forest. If it isn't the liar, Ino said with hurt in her voice. Ino-chan, I'm sorry, Naruto said. I don't want to hear your apology, she told him harshly. Please just listen to me, Naruto asked desperately. Why didn't you tell me? Did you think I would turn you down if I knew that you was really Naruto, Ino asked. Yeah, Naruto said shyly. Do you think I'm that shallow? Yeah, I knew the village hated you, but that don't give you the right to mislead me for your own purpose, Ino said angrily, and the worst part was that I really thought you could make me happy, she whispered. Ino-chan, Naruto started. No, don't talk to me again, Ino said, then jumped into the forest. Dropping his shoulders, Naruto turned and started walking in a different direction. Everyone watched him walk off. Where the hell are you going? Tenten finally asked. We already have the scroll, I'm going to the tower, Naruto replied. Go after her, Hinata said. You heard her, she don't want to talk to me, Naruto said. You, for someone who lives with a bunch of women, you know nothing about us, Temari said. What is that supposed to mean, Naruto asked. It means she wants you to go after her. Why do you think she looked back before she ran off, Hinata asked. If she wanted to talk to me wouldn't have left, Naruto said. Naruto, if you don't go after her she never will forgive you, Tenten said. Ino's being attacked, Hinata said. Ino ran into the forest to think to herself. Sitting on a branch she completely missed the group of Kumo ninjas that was slowly surrounding her. Sighing to herself, maybe I'm overreacting, she said out loud. Hearing a twig break she jumped up and got in a defensive position. I know you're there, come out, she called out. It's too late to notice us, you're already surrounded and soon we'll be beat, one of them said. You should just give up and we might not kill you, another one said. You're the one who should give up, Ino said. Trying to act brave, the last said. Let's just finish her off now, the first said. Windstorm they heard and was thrown back by a force of wind. The next thing they saw was an orange blur appeared in front of Ino. I will give you one chance to leave before I kill you for attacking Ino-chan, he said. Sand coffin they heard and Gaara appeared behind the three, killing them before they could move. Naruto turned to Ino. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, I was scared, he told her. How am I supposed to trust you if you're keeping secrets, she replied with a glare. I promise I won't keep any more secrets, Naruto said. Is that so, Ino asked. Yes, Naruto said. So there is nothing else you need to tell me, she asked. I don't think so, Naruto said while thinking it over. So you're not going to tell me you have a marriage contract with Hana, Ino asked. I was going to tell you about that, Naruto said. When Ino asked, crossing her arms. Now, Naruto asked, more than stated. Ino just narrowed her eyes. Okay, I should have told you about that first, but in my defense you are the first girl who I ever tried to date and it wasn't even my idea to have a marriage contract with her, my mom did it then told me, not that I'm complaining, he told her truthfully. She looked at his team to see if he was telling the truth. At their nods she turned back to him. Okay, continue, she told him. You see, me and my mom are the last of the Uzumaki clan and we both want to rebuild it, but we don't want to choose random girls who would help just to be part of the clan. We want girls who like me for me and not the clan, he said. I'll think about what you said, she then jumped off with her team. Man, girls are confusing, Naruto said as he watched her go. Let's just get to the tower, Temari said. Being one of the first groups in the tower meant they had a lot of time to relax and for Naruto worry about Ino. They was sitting in the eating area when Kushina walked up. I don't want to know why you did it, but you have better had a good reason for revealing yourself before I told you, she said. It was Naruto's fault, he let the Hyuga get to him, Tenten said. I was just letting him know that I'm going to destroy him for what he did to me, Naruto defended. There is nothing we can do about it now, just stay out of sight until the second part of the exam is over, Kushina said. Mom, I think I messed up with Ino-chan, Naruto said. What do you mean, Kushina asked. She was mad that I didn't tell her who I really am and I think she is mad about me not telling her about Hana, Naruto said. This is why I told you not to do anything until after you reveal who you really are. I'll think of some way to give you a chance to make things right with her, Kushina said. Ino's team finally made it to the tower with only a few hours to spare. She led her team to where all the passing genins was waiting and was surprised to see that Naruto and his teammates was back in their disguise. The Hokage stood up. Congratulations on making it this far, you all have advanced to the third and final round, which will be held in a month's time. Use this time to train hard and just to get things started off, the first match will be Scorpion Uzumaki of Suna vs Neji Hyuga of Konoha. Good luck, he said. Rays of the greatest warriors. As Naruto and Neji glared at one another, everyone else started to leave. Finally, smirking, Neji vanished, leaving just the Suna ninjas in the room. Turning to everyone else, what now, Naruto asked. You go to every library, store, any place you can think of and grab any and every jutsu scroll. I don't care if it's a scroll for henge, I want every scroll this village has. Hinata, try and get back into the Hyuga compound. If you get any resistance at all, find me, Anko, Kurenai, or Yugao immediately. Tenten, you are in charge of collecting weapons, lots and lots of weapons. Gaara, Temari, and Kankiru, stay hidden and make sure no one tries to stop our plans, Kushina ordered. Ino was walking out the forest of death, still in deep thought. She wanted to believe that Scorpioner was it. Naruto, his is stupid, I can't believe I'm thinking about him this much, she yelled. Princess, what's wrong, her father asked, worried for her. Nothing, dad, she told him. You sure, he replied. Yay, I need to figure this out myself, Ino said, looking at him with determination. Hiashi-sama, I have something to tell you, Neji said. Not now, I'm busy, Hiashi responded. This is important, very important, Neji said. Okay, what's so important, Hiashi asked. Naruto, Tenten, and Hinata are not dead, Neji said. What are you talking about, Hiashi asked. Naruto, Hinata, and Tenten are in the village alive, they are part of Suna's genins, they go by Scorpion, Cat, and Raptor, and I believe that Hinata already been in contact with Hanabi, possible even inside the compound, Neji said. Impossible, how would she get into the compound, Hiashi asked. Remember a week ago when you had everyone return back to the compound for that meeting about the exams, Neji asked. Hiashi nodded. Increase the training, have a squad around Hanabi at all times, he said. Hinata arrived at the Hyuga compound. She was surprised at the security that they had set up so quick. There was not one place on the compound wall that wasn't overlapped by 2 Hyuga elite guards. After circling the compound 3 times, she left in frustration. Walking into the hotel room, she threw herself on the couch and let out a frustrated sigh. What's wrong, Kurenai asked as she went to comfort her daughter. Mom, this is bad, Hinata said. Just tell me what's wrong and we will try and fix it, Kurenai said. Well, Naruto being stupid showed who he really was just before the start of the second exam to every genin that was at the forest. Apparently Neji always beat him as a kid, and now the Hyugas have their entire compound under watch, there is no way to get in. And to make things worse, Ino is pissed at Naruto, and from what I saw Hanabi has an entire squad of Hyugas watching her every move, Hinata told her. Benko let out a long whistle. Looks like we have our hands full now trying to get to the girl, she said. What do you suppose we should do, Yugao asked. Nothing like an unattainable challenge to get the best out of me, Anko said with a devious smile on her face. Every time you have that smile on your face you have some crazy plan, Yugao then smirked. I want in, she said. Kurenai, Anko asked. Yeah, I'm in, she replied. Okay, this is what we will do, Anko started. Tenten stopped in front of the weapons shop and smirked. This is going to be so fun, she said to herself, then ran to the back. After picking the lock of the back door that led to the basement, she crept in and looked around. Yes, jackpot, new weapons to tinker around with, she said. She walked to the middle of the room and sat an extra large scroll in the middle, then grabbed a large scroll out of her pack and started to fill it. She came to a group of Nagas and smiled. These should make an excellent weapon, she said, and put them in a separate scroll. Arriving in the Hokage's library, Naruto looked around and saw a scroll sitting on a stand with glass over it. What do we have here, he asked out loud as he walked up to it. Ito Tensei, never heard of it, he said. He then read the description and his eyes went wide. If I learn this I can summon dead people, he said in surprise. Finding a large opening by a waterfall, Naruto summoned 1,000 clones. I want you all to practice this jutsu until you can do it successfully. Every 30 minutes 5 of you will disperse so we can get your knowledge of the progress, he ordered. Already knowing the hand signs and how the jutsu is supposed to work from reading it over a few times, the clones got to work. Tenten walked into the hotel to Naruto cowering in a corner with Hinata glaring at him with her Byakugan active as she was slowly walking up to him. Hey, what's going on, she asked. He is going to pay for blowing our cover, now I can't get to my sister, Hinata, as she continued to approach him. Hinata, calm down, everything will work out, besides if you kill him, then you won't be able to beat him senseless during training, Tenten said. Huffing, she threw Naruto one last glare, then went back to the couch. Now, I found some great weapons we can put to use now, she told them, and started to unseal the extra large scroll showing the 20 large scrolls she had filled, and I haven't even went to the Anbu weapons place yet, she told them. Well, I went to the Hokage's library and have over 1,000 jutsus all sorted by type, Naruto said, unsealing his extra large scroll. Shortly after, Temari, Gaara, and Kankuro walked in. Come get some weapons and jutsu scrolls, Naruto said happily. You two work fast, Temari said with a smile. We are not finished, Tenten said looking through a Raten scroll. Toss me a Futon scroll, Temari said. Hours later, Baki walked in on a room that had scrolls scattered everywhere. Why are scrolls all over the floor, he asked. We are reading them, they are jutsu scrolls, Hinata said while looking at a high-level Suiton scroll. I see, Baki said as he picked up a scroll. Eternal Wind Dragon here, Ed, where did you get these scrolls? They all look like they are B-ranked and higher, he asked. The Hokage's library, you know, I thought it would have more security than it is, Naruto said. How much security did it have, Baki asked. None, Naruto said. Kushina walked in the hotel with dinner in her arms and immediately stopped. What, why, oh never mind, clear a space so we can eat, she said, trying to hide her smile. Hey mom, did you know there is a scroll that can summon dead people? Naruto asked. Yay, Ito Tensei, why, Kushina asked. Well, I hope you don't mind, I'm trying to learn it, Naruto said. Where is the scroll? I want to learn it, Tenten said. Oh hell, Kushina said as the rest of the genins agreed with Tenten. Just remember that jutsu is very dangerous, don't attempt it without knowing the risks of it, she added. We won't, they all said, reading the scroll for the jutsu. Man, this requires a lot of chakra, Hinata added. I have 1,000 clones practicing it, Naruto said. Summoning no jutsu, Gaara said. Find an open place, summon 1,000 clones, and practice the jutsu, he said. You two are lucky you have almost an unlimited amount of chakra, Tenten said. You just have to train harder, I have a way to increase your chakra within a month, Anko said walking in the room. What's that? Kushina asked curious. Smirking, Anko eyed the genins, running up a waterfall, she said. What, you know how dangerous that is? Kushina asked. Yay, I did it as a genin. How do you think I have so much chakra? Anko asked. Do I have to do it? Naruto asked. You all will do it, Anko said. A eek later, a Chunin ran into the office. Hokage-sama, someone broke into the Hokage's library, he yelled. What? How did this happen? What's missing? He demanded. Everything, there is not one scroll left in the library, the Chunin said. What? Call the council, he demanded. Soon the meeting was underway. Why did you call us here? Danzo asked. Someone broke into the Hokage's library and stole everything, the Hokage said. How is that possible? Inoichi asked. I'm not sure, have any of you heard anything suspicious we should know about? The Hokage asked. Well, Neji did mention that 3 people thought dead is alive, Hiashi said. The Hokage asked. Naruto, Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, and Tenten, Hiashi said. What impossible? Someone yelled. Hokage-sama, there was another break-in and Anbu said, appearing in the room. Where? The Hokage asked. The Uchiha compound, everything was taken, the only thing left is the houses themselves, even the old clothes are gone, the Anbu said. Hokage-sama, the Senju compound was broken into and like the Uchiha compound, everything was taken, another Anbu said. Hokage-sama, the Namikaze compound was broken into and everything was stolen, yet another Anbu said. Hokage-sama, the Hada compound was broken into and everything is gone, another Anbu said. Hokage-sama, someone broke into my shop and stole all the weapons out my basement, the owner of the weapons shop yelled, running into the room. The Hokage rubbed his temples. Do we know who is doing it? He asked. That's the problem. Witnesses said that Izuna Uchiha was seen going in the Uchiha compound right before everything came up missing, the Anbu said. The same with the Senju with Hashirama and Tobirama Senju, another Anbu said. And Minato was seen entering the Namikaze compound, another Anbu said. Tsukumo Haddock was seen going in the Haddock compound, the last Anbu said. Jiraiya walked into the village and looked around. What's with the panic? He asked. No one in particular. As he walked, he noticed a few people who should be dead, like 3 of the 4 Hokages and Uchiha and an Haddock. Confused, he continued to walk through the village. Iro-san, and he heard and turned to see Naruto. Hey, what's going on? Jiraiya asked. Oh, nothing you should worry about. I'm sure if you knew then the Hokage would try and get you to talk. So what brings you here? Naruto asked. Actually, Kushina asked me to bring the toad summon so you can sign it, Jiraiya said. And why are you walking around with a mask on? He added. It's fun to scare the crap out of people. I lost me temper and revealed who I am, Naruto said. Wow, Naruto and Gaara, I'm surprised you both learned the jutsu that fast, Kushina said with pride. Yay, a few thousand clones and a week is a lot of training, Naruto said. Good idea of using them to rob the village, Baki said. Yay, just another one of my brilliant ideas, Kushina boasted. Hey mom, I saw Iro-san and signed the toad summon, Naruto said. Really, can you summon toads now? Kushina asked. Yup, one of them gave me this scroll and told me to give it to you, Naruto said, tossing her a scroll. Hatching the scroll, she opened it. Naruto, this is the scroll for the Hiraishin no Jutsu. Why did the toad tell you to give it to me? Kushina asked. No clue, can I learn it now? Naruto asked. Sure, Kushina tossed the scroll back. Reading the scroll, he unsealed one of the long 3-pronged kunais and added his chakra into it. The kunai glowed and the word Naruto appeared on the kunai and a scroll popped out with Naruto's name on it. Opening the scroll, hundreds of smaller 3-pronged kunais fell out. I guess that's all I had to do. It says that dad made it so that the kunai only reacts to Namikaze's blood, he said. Well, try it, Kushina said, picking up one of the many kunais that was over the floor and throwing it on the ceiling. After concentrating hard, he vanished in a streak of yellow, but stopped halfway there and hit the ground hard. You need practice, summon your clones again, Kushina said. The council was in chaos. Everywhere you turned someone was being robbed by someone who was supposed to be dead, the latest victim, Danzo, and he was robbed by Anko herself. Hey, she had a bone to pick with him. The Hokage did a good job at keeping the village under control and not letting the news of the robberies get out to the public. Security for the entire village had been increased. Naruto slipped through the village unnoticed as he approached the Yamanaka compound. Where do you think you're going? He heard. Ino-chan, he said, spinning around. What do you want, Scorpion, or should I call you Naruto? She asked, crossing her arms. I don't really want to see you at the moment, she added. I know you're mad, but let me at least explain myself, Naruto asked. I'm listening, Ino said. Can we go somewhere private? Naruto asked as he constantly looked over his shoulder to make sure he wasn't being watched. She led him inside the compound and to her room. My father isn't going to be home for an hour, so you have 45 minutes starting now, she told him. First, I want to say I'm sorry and I should have told you from the beginning who I was, but you have to understand I was so afraid that you would turn me down that I panicked, Naruto said. That don't explain why you lied to me, Ino said. Naruto sighed. Well, it was because when I was 5, I saw you at the park one day, and I knew I wasn't supposed to be there, but I just wanted to say hi to you. That's when some guy, I think it was your father, he caught me and told me to stay away from you if I want to continue to live. I saw this as my chance to at least to get to know you and maybe be friends, he told her. So you lied because of something that happened when you was 5 involving my father, Ino asked. Yeah, Naruto said. Ino sat quietly for a moment. I have to think about this, I'll find you later and we can continue to talk, she said. Okay, bye Ino-chan, Naruto said. Wait, do you have anything to do with these robberies, she asked. Promise not to tell anyone, he asked. Promise, Ino smiled. Ito Tensei, he called and summoned the 4th Hokage. Yondaime Hokage, how did you summon him, Ino asked in surprise. It's a dead summon, Naruto said. Tenten and Hinata stood in a clearing, Ito Tensei Tenten called and was able to summon her dead mother. It worked, she said in surprise. Congratulations, Hinata said. Can you do it, Tenten asked. Not yet, I don't have enough chakra, Hinata said. A week before the final exams, a Jounin ran into Orochimaru. I'm not here to kill you, but to warn you, Suna is preparing to attack Konoha, Orochimaru said. Orochimaru, are you sure about this information, someone asked. Of course, I want Suna gone as much as you do, they are going to attack during the 3rd part of the exams, Orochimaru said. From where, the figure asked. The south, Orochimaru said, then vanished. After going south of the village to make sure that the information was correct, a Jounin ran into the Hokage's office. Hokage Sama Suna is marching from the south, they are prepared to strike at a moment's notice, he said. Are you sure about this, the Hokage asked. Yes, I saw their entire army myself, the Jounin said. Okay, prepare everyone, we will strike them in a few days, the Hokage said. Iwagao ran in the hotel with urgency. Kushina, we have a problem. Konoha has somehow found out about the attack and is preparing to strike within a few days, she said. What? Gather everyone here now, Kushina said as she jumped out the window. Ino, I told you to stay from those Sunanins, her father said. But dad, what's wrong with them? We are allies, Ino protested. Since you want to argue, you're grounded until they leave. Don't leave this compound, her father said, then left. Ino screamed in frustration. Alright, we need to get out of here while we can. Somehow they found out about the attack, Kushina said. What about Hanabi, Hinata asked. We will get her out somehow, Kushina said. I have an idea, Naruto said. That's a first, Kankuro said. Not now, what's your idea, Kushina asked. Well, me, Hinata and Tenten can use the invisibility jutsu Kurenai taught us to sneak in and out of the Hyuga compound with Hanabi, Naruto said. Good idea, you 3 go, we will wait around the compound for you, Kushina said. They got everything and sealed it in a scroll and jumped out the window. After making their way into the compound and to Hanabi's room, they jumped out the window. I didn't think it was this high up before I suggested we jump, Naruto said mid-fall. Not now, we have company, Tenten said. Hanabi, you're choking me, Hinata said. So you finally got enough balls to try and sneak her out, Neji said. My balls are bigger than yours, Naruto responded. I'm going to kill you, Neji said. I have been waiting to knock you around, Naruto responded while stepping towards him. Neji sped towards Naruto and kicked him in the air. Using this chance, he threw a kunai where his mother was and landed on his back. You're pathetic, Neji said. Getting up, Naruto smirked. Do you really think I'm stupid enough to take Hanabi and pick a fight while still in the Hyuga compound, do you, he asked, while more and more Hyugas surrounded them. Actually yes, I do, Neji said. You're right, that is something I would do, but not now, we have to go, Naruto then went through some hand signs. Fuetin. Whirlwind, he called, and the resulting jutsu pushed all the Hyugas away. Later, assholes, he said, and grabbed Hinata's and Tenten's hand and vanished in a yellow streak, surprising all the Hyugas. Took long enough, Kushina said. Yay, we couldn't get the jutsu to cover Hanabi, Hinata said. Can I go back and kick Neji's ass, Naruto asked. Not now, let's go, Kushina said. Where do you think you're going, they heard. Turning, they looked straight at the Hokage. I was wondering why everything started to come up missing after the 2nd part of the exams, he said. Hey old man, how about we give you an IOU and get back with you in a few years when you're dead, Naruto asked. How about you all die, he responded and snapped his fingers and the entire Anbu appeared. Kill them, he said to them. Leave Hanabi alive, she is the price to Iwa for our treaty to work, Hiashi added. The Suna ninjas looked around. We are so screwed, like hard in the ass screwed, Naruto said. Although I hate your reference, I have to agree, we are screwed, Kushina said. Jumping between them and the Konoha Anbu was the Inuzuka entire clan and Ino. Hana-chan, Ino-chan, Naruto said in surprise. I'm still pissed at you for lying to me, but I will forgive you only if you take me with you out of here, Ino said. Sure, not like we have a good chance of getting out anyway, Naruto said. Alert every ninja of their treachery and to be ready to attack anyone from Suna, the Inuzuka clan, and Inuyamenka, the Hokage said. How do we get out of this, Anko whispered. There is only one jutsu that will work, Kushina said. You mean that jutsu, Yugao asked. Yay, we have to use it, Kushina said. They all nodded and went through the same hand signs. Ito Tensei, they said, and summoned the 1st, 2nd, and 4th Hokage, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Kazekage, Tsukumo Haddock, all the dead Uchihas, and the dead Senjus, thanks to Gaara and Naruto's extremely large chakra reserves. Let's kick some Konoha ass, Naruto said. Ino, what are you doing? Inoichi asked. You once told me that I would have to make my own path, that I would have to prove I'm my own person. I'm doing just that. Ino said. By betraying your family and home? Inoichi asked. You betrayed me first, you banned me from meeting new people, that wasn't a home, it was a prison. Ino said. I'm very disappointed. Minato spoke out. Why are you disappointed? Inoichi asked. Did anyone follow through with my wish to see that Naruto was seen as a hero? Minato asked. A hero, he is a demon. Someone yelled. Fools. Hashirama bellowed, quieting all yells of Naruto being a demon. Hashirama. The third said. We have failed in training you, Sarutobi. Hashirama said. What do you mean? Sarutobi asked. I thought we taught you how to see past what others think and see who a person is. You neglected to see that Naruto is just someone who got the bad draw of being born on the day Kyuubi attacked. You shunned him for your foolish beliefs. Hashirama said. I should have selected Danzo to be Sandaime. Tobirama said. Kakashi. And Uchiha called out. Obito? Kakashi asked. Obito looked at him. Remember when I told you that those who break the shinobi rules are trash, but those who don't care about their companions are worse than trash? He asked. Yes. Kakashi said. You're even worse than someone who betrays their companions, you're a real demon. Obito said in disgust. Why would you say that? Kakashi asked in shock. Obito pointed to Naruto. He is 12 years old, the age I was when I died because you refused to go back and help Rin. When he was only 5 was going to kill him. You was going to kill a child who couldn't protect himself. You are worse than any person can be. He is Sensei's son. Obito said. We had a vision for this village when we first created it. It would be a place where everyone can live in peace. We would protect the peace for all innocent people. You all have ruined that dream. It goes much deeper than the Uchihas trying to take over. The entire village is corrupted and needs to be cleansed. Hashirama said. For the way you treated my son, I will show you no mercy. Minato said as he pulled out a single kunai. We won't die so easily. Hiashi said. You're the first on my list of asses to kill. Minato said to him. I finally get to kick that Hyuga's ass. Naruto said. No, you all leave. Minato said. What, but I want to fight. Naruto complained. You have more battles to fight, this one is not your fight, besides we don't have long to be here and this way we know we won't harm any of you by accident. Minato said. He is right, you all should leave. Tobirama said. Sasuke, I thought I raised you better than this. Mikoto said. Let's go. Kushina said. Wait, Anko, you have the seal of Orochimaru on you? Hashirama said. Anko hid her neck in her coat, yay. She whispered. Let us see if we can fix it. Minato said. You can do that? Anko asked in surprise. Of course. Hashirama said as he and Minato looked at her seal. This seal is unique, we can't remove it like I hoped, but altering it will work just as well. Minato said. I agree, Hashirama said as he traced it with his finger. I got it, if we destroy Orochimaru's influence on it, that should allow her to use it at will. He said. Minato nodded, like a seal that hides your chakra, I like it. He said as he and Hashirama added their chakra into the seal. Anko screamed out in pain as they slowly destroyed every trace of Orochimaru in the seal. Once they finished, Minato caught her before she fell. It had a surprising amount of chakra in it, he must have wanted to use her as his ultimate weapon. Hashirama said. Well, she has no need to worry about him anymore, Minato said as he gave her to Kushina. Take care of our son Kushi-chan. He said as he kissed her softly on the lips. I don't need to be told, I'll join you one day in the afterlife. She said. Not for a few years you won't. He said. Now get out of here. Hashirama ordered. Orochimaru looked down on Konoha with a sick smile. Finally they got what they deserved, should have selected me as Hokage. He said. Orochimaru-sama, what do you want us to do? He was asked. Obito, go find out if any shinobi survived. If they did, bring them back to me. Hopefully a Hyuga and Uchiha is still alive, even if barely. Orochimaru ordered. Kushina led the army following her through the forest outside of Konoha. The Inuzukas covered their nose, they was hit by the smell of blood. Kushina looked at them with worry. Let's speed up and get as far away from this smell as possible. As soon as she finished this, the Inuzukas sped past her. They reached Suna and went to the Uzumaki compound. Think anyone survived? Hinata asked. There are some civilians who wasn't killed, I smelled a few shinobis who survived. Tsume said. We have to go get those who survived. Ino said. Why? Hana asked. At least we should go see who survived, and what about the civilians, they can't survive with all those dead bodies. Ino said. She has a point, but we can't bring them here, it's too far. Kushina said. What about Whirlpool? Naruto asked. Good idea, Tsume, can you lead your clan there, the rest of us will go to Konoha and get the civilians then come to Whirlpool. Kushina asked. Sure, let's go. Tsume said. What about Suna, they made you the Kazekage? Anko asked. I'll appoint a new Kazekage. Kushina said. What about us? Temari asked. Kushina looked at her. You're going to be the liaison between Whirlpool and Suna, Baki, you will be the new Kazekage. She said. Orochimaru walked in the medic room of his hideout. Kabuto, did you find anyone worth saving? He asked. Yes, I found a few people worth saving. Kabuto answered. Oh, who? Orochimaru asked, truly curious. I found an Uchiha, a Hyuga, a Haruno, a Nara, an Aburam, an Akamichi, and this guy. Kabuto said. Orochimaru looked at him. Who the hell is that? He asked. He is the kid with outstanding taijutsu, the one who couldn't use ninjutsu. Kabuto said. No ninjutsu, he is useless, throw him out, throw out the Haruno also, keep the others. Orochimaru said and walked out. Kushina, Anko, Kurenai, Yugao, Hinata, Naruto, Tenten, Hanabi, Ino, Shizune, Tsunade, and Jiraiya arrived back in Konoha. They looked around. Anyone want to go jutsu hunting? Kushina asked. The group immediately jumped off. Hinata, Tenten, Hanabi, Ino, and Naruto all went towards the clan compounds. Tsunade and Shizune went towards the headed for the cage's tower. Kushina suppressed a laugh as she, Kurenai, Yugao, and Anko headed for the shopping district. There was no guarantee that there would be any food or clothes in Whirlpool. The kids arrived at the Yamanaka compound first. They followed Ino as she led them through until she came to a large house. You can go check the other houses, I'll check this one. She said. Let's meet back here in 10 minutes. Tenten said. Right. They all said and went off to a different house, with Hanabi with Hinata. 10 minutes later the group came back to the main house and waited for Ino. What's taking her so long? Naruto asked. Let's go find out. Hinata said. They walked in and heard crying. They ran through the house until they found Ino laying on a large bed crying. They slowly approached her. Ino-chan, what's wrong? Naruto asked. Ino sniffed and looked at them. It's just hard to believe he is really gone. She said and started crying again. No one knew what to say, so they stayed quiet. Until recently we had a good relationship. I always thought he would die out on a mission, worried about who would take care of me, but he didn't and he died mad at me. She finally said. I'm sure he still loved you. Naruto said. Well, I for one am happy my father is dead. Hanabi said. Everyone looked at her. What I am. She said. At least you're happy about this. Ino said, laughing lightly. Come on, let's get you out of here. Tenten said as she and Hinata helped her up. Tsunade looked over the records of the people in the hospital. Shizune, how many did you count that was in here? She asked. 10 all civilians. Shizune answered. Severeness of injury? Tsunade asked. Not severe, most just minor injuries. Shizune said. Well, let's start healing them, we can't leave them, then we will collect all the records and things from here. Tsunade said. 2 hours later Kushina, Yugao, Anko, and Kurenai went through all the shops in the shopping district and sealed everything in scrolls. They walked away from the shopping district with packs full of extra large scrolls. They arrived at the civilian monument at the same time that everyone else. Tsunade and Shizune had 3 shinobis who managed to survive with them and saw Jiraiya sitting waiting on them. Okay, I determined no civilians are within the village and it looks like Tsunade and Shizune healed all the injured shinobis. Last thing we have to check is the civilian shelter. He said. Well, let's go check it. Tsunade said. The kids shifted their extra large scroll on their back. Kushina pushed the wall open and walked in and saw a bunch of people. Excuse me, can everyone listen up? She yelled out. What's going on? Someone yelled back. The village is no longer safe, it was destroyed by those loyal to it. Kushina said, not a complete lie, the people who killed everyone was very loyal, she thought. What will we do? Someone else asked. I will take you all to safety, if you will follow us everyone will be safe. Kushina said. Where are we going? Someone asked. Whirlpool, now if you have any problems, talk to one of us and we will try and fix it. Kushina said. Everyone followed them out and down a select path. Jiraiya pulled one of the shinobis who survived. Tenzu, can you still use your chakra? He asked. Yes. Tenzu answered. Good, when everyone is clear of this area, I want you to collapse the building and grow out a forest here. No one outside of us know what happened to Konoha. I want people to think it just moved and renamed itself Whirlpool. He said. Why? Tenzu asked. It's better if you don't ask questions. Jiraiya said. Okay. Tenzu said. Kushina led everyone through Whirlpool until they came to an area large enough to hold everyone. Okay, is everyone here? She yelled. What kind of question is that? How will we know if everyone isn't here? Anko asked. Anyway, before I let you all go, find a house to live in. Is anyone from a clan or shinobi family? She asked. A few people raised their hands. Is anyone from a clan who doesn't have shinobi training? Tsunade asked. Everyone put their hand down. Okay, where is what is going to happen? Everyone will have to line up and sign a scroll saying what your name is, any kids you have, your occupation, and if you're staying in Whirlpool or not. For those who are, will go to Tsunade and get a scroll that has a house number on it. The house size will be determined by your family size. Those from clans will have to put your name on one scroll and you will receive a house big enough to fit everyone in it. If you're not staying then you can leave immediately. Kushina said. Everyone got in somewhat of a line. She saw at least 50 people walk away. She turned to the others, Jiraiya, can you lead the others out and write the address of the houses on a scroll, one per scroll? Tsunade asked. Sure, let's go, if you know Kage Bushin use it, Hanabi stay here. Jiraiya said. They all ran off creating Bushins to help the process. Tsum walked up, wow, you got here faster than I thought. She said. Well, it wasn't many people left alive. Kushina said. Haku sat in a restaurant in Kiri waiting for Kushina to send for her. Kasumi walked up, you're still here? She asked. I'm waiting on Kushina to send me a message telling me where she is. Haku responded. Kasumi sat down, so you're just going to sit here every day all day until you get that message? She asked. Yes. Haku said. Well, you're in luck, a messenger bird. Kasumi said. Haku looked up as the bird landed on the table. She took the letter from its leg and read it, I'm leaving. She said. Where is Kushina? Kasumi asked. Whirlpool. Haku told her. Okay. Kasumi said. A month later Kushina looked over the scroll of everyone now living in Whirlpool, which was now full of people trying to make a new life for themselves. The good thing she realized was that they had a lot of children from all the clans from Konoha. Hinata took all the Hyugas and decided she would train them all, much to Hanabi's delight, because she would be getting trained by her also. Ino took the Yamanakas and went to the large house assigned to them, she was in control of their training. The rest of the clans was left to the oldest person in them, which usually was someone around 30 with no shinobi training whatsoever. The only acceptation was the Aburam clan who trained all their members, no matter what field you decided to go to. In total there was 300 kids and young adults from the Hyuga and Uchiha clan, all was branch members. Jiraiya was currently working on a way to remove the cursed seal. There was 200 from the Yamanaka, Nara, and Akimichi clans. 175 from the Aburam clan, plus a bunch of hives that Jiraiya and Tenzu grabbed. All 800 members of the Inuzuka clan plus 800 civilians. The village was busy immediately with people running around, mainly kids who was bored. The shinobi spent most of the month fixing the building, so they was livable. Tsunade was busy training all the vets in the Inuzuka clan to be medics, until the ones Shizune was training was good enough to take over. Jiraiya was leading a group of shinobis and teaching everyone from the age of 8 and up how to use chakra and do jutsus. Anko was currently teaching those same people to jutsu. Kurenai was teaching jinjutsu to those who wanted to learn it, but everyone learned to break it. Naruto and Tenten was teaching them how to use weapons of all types. Hinata and Ino was busy training the adults in their respective clans. Kushina made sure that the other clans was learning how to use their bloodlines in case they needed to. The Aburam clan, since they already knew this stuff, was currently using their bugs to pollinate Whirlpool with the pollens they collected from Konoha. Tenzu made the ground usable so they can start growing crops. Haku set up fishing posts and was helping wherever she was needed. The bank, grocery store, jewelry store, and multiple other stores was built, and she placed the scrolls that was taken out of Konoha's shopping district and put them in Whirlpool's shopping district. She gave the Inuzuka clan all the money they had from Konoha back to them, which was put in their bank account. She gave the other clans a portion of their money, the smaller clans got 3/4 of their money, while the Hyuga and Uchiha clans got half of their money, which still was a lot more than any other clan except Inuzuka, who was now even with them. The rest of the money she poured into the village to get it moving in the right direction. Everyone who had a job in Konoha was given their same job here. She had her new blacksmith, the old ones from Konoha somehow died in their sleep, make new Whirlpool hit I-8s for all the shinobis and paid him a nice amount for it. Tenten even donated all the weapons she got from Konoha's weapons shop to him, so he would have things to sell while he made the hit I-8s. All the Chunin and higher Jutsu scroll was put in a shinobi library, while the genin scrolls was in the civilian library, in case they wanted to learn about chakra or different jutsus. The biggest restaurant in the village, Ichiraku's all-you-can-eat, quickly became a favorite of most people, while other restaurants started to pop up. The owner, Ayame Ichiraku, couldn't pass up the idea of expanding on her father's idea after he died protecting her during the attack on Konoha, plus it was Naruto's idea, and he was her best friend before he left the village. He would always go play with her when they was kids. 2 months later Kushina sat back in the small office she had and looked over the mission options that came in. They was headed for Konoha, but having Jiraiya convince him to route them to Whirlpool was easy when facing a threat of becoming bankrupt since no one would be receiving the missions. Looked out her window at the fast-building Whirlpool and spotted Tenzu sitting on a bench. Grabbing her Kage's hat and the bag of missions she approached him. "Tenzu, I have an A-rank mission for you," she said. "What is it, Kushina-sama?" he asked. In Wave they are having trouble completing their bridge, lack of manpower, take Naruto, Hinata, and Tenten with Yaum, they know the area," Kushina said. Tenzu nodded and went off to find the three and on to his mission. "How's being the Uzukage coming?" Haku asked. "Great, not that anyone would go against Jiraiya's and Tsunade's vote for me as the Shadai Uzukage," Kushina said. "Any missions for me?" Haku asked looking at the bag. Yes, a group of people want an escort from Sea Country here, grab someone and head there. Kushina said. Itachi walked in a random direction with his Sharingan blazing like always. He spent the last few months training as hard as possible. During the time that Konoha was destroyed he was out of the village on an important mission. He had no idea who did it but figured he had better things to do than search for the person responsibly, he had no clues anyway. He walked into a small town and went to a clothing store. He looked around and bought an all-black cloak that covered his entire body from the shoulders down and a large traditional hat. He walked out with his new purchases on and completely blocked the sun and prying eyes from him. He walked out of the town. As he walked he came across the new village whirlpool. He jumped on top of the gate and looked out into the village. He had to admit he heard rumors about this village and it intrigued him yet he knew nothing about it, he hated not know things. He glanced over when he felt someone land next to him, then turned back to look at the village. This person had on a blue hat and robe that covered their entire body. You're the leader of this place. He asked not really wanting to start a fight. Yes, what are you doing here Itachi? I heard everyone but civilians died, did you kill them? She retorted. No, I was out the village when that happened. He said. So why are you here? She asked again. I'm intrigued by this new village. He said. She looked at him, what do you want? We haven't done anything yet to attract enemies. She asked. He looked at her, I'm not an enemy yet, next time I come I might be. He said and turned to jump off. Itachi? She called out. Yes Kushina? He asked. Before we came here to rebuild this village we stopped in Konoha, we brought all the civilians with us, some of those who we brought was Uchihas. She said. So? He asked. They need someone they trust around, they need to know that you care enough about them to be a part of their lives. She said. Are you asking me to join your village? He asked. Take it how you want, but no one here can train Uchihas the way an Uchiha can, this could be your legacy. She said and jumped back to the village. Itachi watched her leave and thought about what she said. The REAK-0. Kushina landed in front of her office building and sensed a chakra spike near the water. She took off at great speed and arrived at the spot and found a few injured shinobis. Who is responsible for this? She asked. Those two. A shinobi said pointing to Zabuza and his partner. Zabuza, so you attack my village and think you can get away with it? She asked. Kushina, you ruined my job in Wave, you have to pay somehow. He replied. I'm not Uzukage for nothing, if you don't leave I will kill you. She said. I don't care who you are, you owe me money. Zabuza said as he attacked her. A shinobi appeared in front of her and caught the clever by part of the handle and held it steady while Zabuza struggled. Who the hell are you? He questioned. The shinobi looked up at Zabuza with his Sharingan blazing and his free hand in front of his mouth. Kaiten. Dragon fire he said as he pulled the clever out of Zabuza's hand. He then spent the handle so he was holding it properly and looked at his partner and vanished. The boy fell to his knees as blood started to squirt out of his neck. So you decided on my offer? Kushina asked. He looked at her with his Sharingan. Yes, I have two requirements before I join. He said. What are those? Kushina asked. That I don't have to be head of what's left of the Uchiha clan and I get to train whoever I want. He said. Kushina met his eyes and thought, I get the clever and you have a deal. She said. He tossed it to her. Welcome to Whirlpool Itachi Uchiha. She said as she caught the weapon. Itachi? Some of the Uchihas said. He removed his hat. Sorry for not protecting you all. He said. As long as we have your protection now, that's we require. A random Uchiha said. 2 days later Itachi walked into Kushina's office and completely missed Naruto, Tenten, Hinata, Ino, Hana, and Kiba. As he was more focused on the window on the opposite side of the room. They eyed him while he stood in front of Kushina with his arms shoved in his pockets. Remember my requirement for joining? He asked lazily still looking out the window. Yes. She said while she looked through her scrolls. Well I waited long enough. He said. She picked up a scroll and read it, then tossed it to the side. The six was waiting for her to kick his ass for his rudeness, but was disappointed. And who do you have in mind? She asked. Those 6 will do. He said without looking at them. The 6 was lost at what was happening. First Itachi walks in and acts like he doesn't even notice them, then he talks rudely to the Uzukage. She responds without even registering what he says as she reads a scroll and toss it aside, then he says they will do. In short there was 5 confused genins and chunin. Sure although Hana is a chunin, she could use to be around more people her age and extra missions and training doesn't hurt. Kushina said as she tossed another scroll to the side. Hey wait 1 minute. Naruto yelled. What's wrong son? Kushina asked looking at him with a concerned look on her face. What the hell is going on? First we get ignored, then he talks to you rude, then he says we will do and you agree without even thinking about it, what will we do for? He yelled. Is that all you wanted to know? I thought something was wrong, he is going to take over training you. Kushina said smiling with relief. What I don't want to be trained by Itachi. Naruto yelled. Who do you want to be trained by? Kushina asked. You. Naruto said. "Can't, I'm running a village, remember?" Kushina answered. "Then what about Kurenai, Anko, Yugao, Jiraiya, Tsunade, anyone but him?" Naruto asked. "You're a genin, you don't get a choice if here Jounin sensei is, now go get ready for travel, there is a rumor that a town north of Konoha found 2 people who survived, I want to look into this." Itachi said, still looking out the window. "You don't tell me what to do." Naruto yelled as the 4 stayed placed. "Naruto." Kushina said. He looked over at her. "Itachi is your sensei now, do as he says, if I get one report that you didn't follow his instructions, I'm taking all your equipment and you will be doing academy missions for the rest of that month." She stated. "But." He started. "Am I understood, young man?" She asked while her blue eyes pierced into his, promising something bad if he disobeyed her. "Yes, mom." Naruto said. "Uzukage." Itachi corrected. "She's my mom." Naruto said. "You're on the job, she is your Uzukage, you will refer to her like that, before you advance in ranks you will learn respect for authority figures." Itachi said. Naruto glared at him, Itachi matched his just by looking at his reflection in the window. "Yes, Uzukage." He finally said. "Good, now meet me at the gate in 5 minutes and get a white cowl body cloak like mine and a large hat like mine." He said and vanished in a trace of fire. "Naruto," Kushina called to get his attention, "Itachi is an elite and could probably be a Kage if he wanted to, he can teach you a lot about being a shinobi and about being a man." She said. "So can Jiraiya." Naruto said. Kushina gave him a playful confused look. "So you want to be a pervert? Oh, I can't believe my son is a pervert in training." She said. "Mom, I'm not a pervert." He said. "I know, now you 4 better leave before you're late." Kushina said. "Oh Naruto, here a gift." She said as she pulled the clever from behind her chair and gave it to him. "If you got that, give Ino the katana I gave you, she needs a weapon." Tenten told her brother. Naruto shrugged and gave her the katana. The 6 arrived at the gate with their white robe and hat on, Naruto had the clever on his back, but it was too long and dragged on the ground, Tenten had her rod on her back, but it also dragged on the ground, Ino had her katana on her left hip completely hidden by the robe, so Itachi didn't know she had it yet, Hinata had her whip on her left hip completely hidden, Kiba had Akamaru on his head, Hana had her 3 dogs next to her, each was knee-high to her. "You're late," Itachi said from outside the gate looking away from him, "next time be on time or you won't get paid." He finished. "But we are not getting paid." Kiba said. "I'm paying for this mission, now shut up before you don't get paid." Itachi said and started to walk off. The 6 followed behind him. Orochimaru walked in the medic room. "I want you to heal Kimimaro." He told Kabuto. "But I thought you said he was unstable." Kabuto asked. "But the new recruits he will have enough to stay under control, plus I want to know who will be stronger, him, the Uchiha or the Hyuga." Orochimaru said. He headed for the door then stopped, "Put them 3, the Akimichi, the Aburam, the Nara, Teiya, Karen, and Jugo on the same team, I will train them personally." He said and left. Itachi arrived at the town and led them to the hospital. "Hello, I am here about a rumor of 2 people surviving the defeat that Konoha had." He said. "Yes, this way, the doctors think they will never wake up, they have been in a coma since we found them." The nurse said. They arrived in the room and saw the 2, Sakura, Ino said. Itachi looked at the nurse, "We will be taking them." He said, "Naruto, Kiba carry them." He finished. Naruto walked up to Sakura and put her on his back, Kiba did the same with Lee. "Now, let's hurry back to Whirlpool." Itachi said as they vanished via Shunshin. Itachi stood in the hospital room for Sakura and Lee as Tsunade checked over them. Kushina came in. "How are they?" She asked. "Fine, they was shocked into a coma." Tsunade said. "Can you get them out of it?" Kushina asked. "It will be hard, but I can do it." Tsunade said. "I want them on my team when they are ready." Itachi said and walked out. "He is a rude one, why did you let him join?" Tsunade asked. "Better with us than against us, plus he is powerful, almost as powerful as I am." Kushina said. "That's saying a lot since you're one of the strongest in all the shinobi nations." Tsunade said. "I know, trust me he will be great for our village if you get past his attitude, besides Naruto is rude in his own way." Kushina said. "You can't compare Naruto's rudeness to Itachi rudeness." Tsunade said. "You're right, Itachi earned the right to be rude through hard work and training, Naruto is rude because I babied him ever since we was together, he thinks he can get anything he want." Kushina said. "They are complete opposites, sarcastic and serious, wind and fire." Tsunade said. Kushina gave her a funny look, "I want him to train Naruto, not date him." She said. "You completely missed the point." Tsunade said. "Relax, you make it sound like Itachi is going to kill him, remember it was his decision to join, I just asked." Kushina said. "I'm just worried about Naruto." Tsunade said. "You know he is training 5 other people?" Kushina asked. "I know, but Naruto is easily influenced." Tsunade said. Look Su-chan, I know you're worried, but he is my son not yours, let me worry about him, I don't need the constant harassment I'm getting from you and Jiraiya about letting Itachi train him, if anything happens, I'll take care of Itachi personally, Kushina said. I know, but I'm still worried. Tsunade said. Don't be, you have more important things than to worry about him, I'm not trying to sound rude or anything, but he is my son, and Itachi is the best person to train him right now. Kushina said. Tsunade sighed, I know you wouldn't have done this if you didn't think it was the best. She said. Of course I wouldn't, I already lost my son once, and I'm not going to put him in any unnecessary danger. Kushina said. Tsunade sat in one of the chairs, I never had any kids, so Naruto is like a son to me also. She said. I know, but he is my son and I would die before I put him in danger, and you know this. Kushina said. I know, but why Itachi? Tsunade asked. I respect him. Kushina answered. What does that have to do with anything? Tsunade asked. It's the reason I am letting Itachi train those 6, he earned my respect, unlike any other Uchiha he trains hard, he separated himself from the rest by mastering his skills. The only other person I respect enough who has the skills to train all them is Jiraiya, and he is always out on some spy mission, plus I don't want my son being perverted. Kushina said. What about Anko, Yugao, Kurenai, and Shizune? Tsunade said. Yes, I respect them also, you know that, but with Itachi, I can have him train all 6 of them and have the other jounins where they really are needed and not waste their skills, besides none wants to be jounin senseis I already asked. Kushina said. Okay, as long as you are sure this is the right decision. Tsunade said. It is, I'm sure of it. Kushina said. Itachi stood in front of his team, let's get one thing straight, I don't care if you like me or not, but you will listen and do what I say as I say it, is that understood? He asked. Yes, Itachi all but Naruto said. Itachi looked at him, you are going to be the rebel of the team? He asked. You can't do anything but tell my mom. Naruto said crossing his arms. Itachi looked at him with no expression on his face, but a raised eyebrow. 2 minutes later, Itachi walked away from a tree as Naruto yelled and tried to untie his legs from the branch he was hanging from. I'm going to tell you this now, my training is hard and it will demand the best you got, but if you give it your all you will improve dramatically, so I ask you, do anyone want to back out now? Once you start there is no going back. Itachi asked. No one said anything, okay, we will get started with an endurance test. He said. Kushina walked up, where is Naruto? She asked. He decided he didn't have to listen to me and that I would run and tell you. Itachi said, pointing to a tree. Kushina looked at him, I'll deal with you at home, train hard, she said and walked away. Can you cut me down, mom? He asked. Itachi looked at him, I mean Uzukage. He corrected. I'm not your sensei, you should listen to him so you won't miss out on important stuff. Kushina said as she walked away. Itachi untied Naruto as training ended. Naruto wobbled and fell over. Now are you going to shut up and do as I tell you? Itachi asked. Naruto looked at him, stop moving. He said. Itachi rolled his eyes, go join the rest of them, he said. Naruto wobbled over to them, it's only been 10 minutes. Itachi said. A month later Baki sat in the Kage's office while reading a scroll, bring me Temari, Gaara, and Kankuro. He said. Once the 3 was in there he pulled out 3 scrolls. Kushina has sent me a scroll specifically for each of you, she expects you to have them mastered in 3 months, I'm giving you a month and a half to master them. He said. What are on the scrolls? Temari asked. Temari for you sealing and Taijutsu, Gaara has genin level scrolls from her Iron Sand bloodline, Kankuro you have ninjutsu and Taijutsu. Baki said, tossing them the scrolls. Why do I only get 1 scroll? Gaara asked. She didn't say. Baki said. Well, let's get started. Temari said as she walked out the office. Ino walked away from the newly built Yamanaka flower shop, it was still waiting for more flowers to grow, but she made it work. With her knowledge of plants and the Aburum's willingness to assist her, she was able to get a garden twice the size of the one that she had in Konoha growing, although none of the flowers was growing yet. She walked until she saw Yugao eating and went to join her. Hey Yugao. She said. Hey. Yugao said through bites. Ino watched her for a minute. What? Yugao asked finally. I was thinking. Ino started. You have to agree to be trained by me if I agree to let you sign the centipede contract. Yugao cut in. Ino blinked. How did you know I wanted to sign it? She asked. I see you when you work on your garden, how you try and turn the dirt to make it usable, centipedes would greatly help you with that. Yugao said. So you will let me sign it if I become your apprentice? Ino asked. Yugao shrugged, sure. She said. Yugao stood with Ino in the small Uzumaki yard, debating how to start her training. You're spoiled. She started out. Spoiled? Ino asked. Yes, spoiled, you expect things to be handed to you nice and easy, that's going to change. Yugao said. I'm not spoiled. Ino protested. Yugao looked at her, back in Konoha if you wanted something what did you do? She asked. I told my father what I wanted and he got it for me. Ino said. If something didn't go your way, what did you do? Yugao asked. I told me father. Ino said. If your sensei pushed you until you couldn't stand, what happened? Yugao asked. My father would yell at him until he apologized. Ino said. If you didn't get things your way? Yugao asked. I would pout and complain. Ino said. See where this is going, you're an only girl and you was treated that way by your father, it's not entirely your fault, but you need to change, not a lot, but still change. Yugao said. What do you mean not entirely my fault? Ino asked. It's the way you was raised, as you grew up you expected things to go your way, your father is more to blame, but you're also to blame in a small way because you never tried to change. Yugao said. What do I need to do? Ino asked. I'm guessing you never had a female figure in your life? Yugao asked. No, my mom died when I was 3. Ino said. You need to learn to act like a kunoichi and not a spoiled brat. Yugao said. You're going to teach me? Ino asked. I am. Yugao said. When do I start? Ino asked. Now. Yugao said. Hinata and Tenten walked out of the cage's office. I wonder where mom is. Hinata said. Don't know, I haven't seen either of our moms since we left the house this morning. Tenten said. Hinata and Tenten, come with me. Tsunade said as she walked past them. Th2 followed her until they was in a training grounds. Tenten, Hinata, you two are going to be trained by your mothers when you're not with Itachi, they will be here soon. Tsunade said and walked off. And I signed the Toad contract? Naruto asked as he got a break in his training. Jiraiya looked at him and thought, as long as your mother agree you can. He said. I agree. Kushina said. I still don't see why you need to be here. Jiraiya said. To make sure you don't try and turn him into a pervert in training. Kushina said. Eyes are naturally perverted. Jiraiya said. And he don't need you to make him more of a pervert. Kushina said. Anko and Kurenai walked to the training grounds and saw Hinata and Tenten waiting on them. How is training with Itachi going? Kurenai asked. Difficult, we got the week off. Hinata admitted. Good, it's about to get harder. Anko said. Sakura slowly opened her eyes and moaned in pain. Where am I? She asked out loud. In Whirlpool, now lay still so I can run a test on you. Shizune said. How did I get here, what happened? Sakura asked, not moving. Itachi and his team brought you and Lee here, you was found by a small village unconscious. Shizune said. What happened to Konoha? Sakura asked. It was destroyed, it's better if you don't ask about that, everyone who survived was brought here. Shizune said. Sakura started to cry, is Ino alive? She asked. Yes, I'll tell her to come visit you. Shizune said as she finished her test. Thank you. Sakura said. You will need to stay here for a few more days to heal completely. Shizune said and walked out. Itachi walked through a small trader's town looking at the weapons they had. He knew about Hinata's flower whip she kept in her hair, Ino's katana, Naruto's head cleaver, and Tenten's multiple weapons, but he need a weapon for Kiba and Hana, and possibly Sakura and Lee. Good thing he knew their weaknesses and strengths. He walked up to the counter. Yes, may I help you? The man asked. I need a pair of fingerless gloves that have spikes on the knuckles, a giant spiked mace, 2 giant kunais, and a chain whip. He said. Those are some pretty hard items to get, give me a minute to check if I have them. The clerk said. I'll wait. Itachi said. The man came back 10 minutes later and saw Itachi patiently waiting. I have the weapons you requested. He said. Itachi threw a stack of money on the table, that should cover this and your silence. He said. My silence? The man asked confused. Yes, you're not to tell anyone I bought these weapons, if you do I will find you. Itachi said. The man looked at the money, this will cover it. He said with a wide grin on his face. A week later Itachi walked into the Inuzuka's office. Did you find out the information I sent you to find? Kushina asked. Yes, and you was right to be cautious. Itachi said. So what did you find? Kushina asked. Orochimaru found a few clan heirs and put his cursed seal on them, they are now being trained by him personally. Itachi said. Who are they? Kushina asked. Shikamaru, Choji, Shino, Neji, and Sasuke. Itachi told her. Really, quite the lineup, if he found them why didn't he look and see if anyone else survived? Kushina wondered out loud. I guess it had to do with his quest for power and to rule the shinobi nations. Itachi said. Kushina looked at him, how do you feel about Sasuke being alive and training under him? Kushina asked. Itachi stuck his hands in his pockets and looked out the window, if Sasuke is willing to let Orochimaru corrupt his mind, then there is nothing I can do for him, none of them. He said. So will you kill him? Kushina asked. If I have to, but he isn't my problem I will deal with Orochimaru and leave them to my genins. Itachi said. Kushina nodded, Sakura and Lee are out of the hospital and have been cleared to train, if you want to train them, you have to go recruit them yourself. She told him. I thought we agreed I will train them. Itachi said. No, we agreed you will train the 6 you already have, they are free for anyone to train, so you better go before someone decide they want someone to train. Kushina said. Itachi walked around the village until he saw a green blur. He walked over to the training grounds. Rock Lee. He called. He stopped. What do you want, Itachi? He asked, curious. Do you want to continue your training and become a taijutsu master like never before seen? Itachi asked. Yes, I would like to honor Guy Sensei and accomplish what he couldn't. Lee said with determination. Your reasons are your own and I will respect your wish and help you accomplish your goal. If you agree to let me train you, come to training grounds 5 tomorrow at 10 in the morning. Get yourself a white full body robe and a large hat. Itachi told him and left to find Sakura. Lee thought over the proposal and ran to the Inuzuka's office. Kushina-sama. He said. I told you call me Kushina. She told him with a smile. Kushina, I know I said I don't want handouts, but I need some money. Lee said. Everyone needs help sometimes. She said as she tossed him a carefully counted amount of money. You knew I would be here? He asked as he caught it. Yes, I knew once Itachi came to you that you wouldn't allow yourself to refuse becoming a taijutsu master. Kushina said. Thank you. Lee said with a bow and left.